Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over and danced to it.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
The crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha, right here in the Big O, the home of the College World Series. And you can look them up online at everlevelconcrete.com.
Yep. That's right. Check them out.
Yeah.
People forget we're the home of the College World Series.
Hell yeah.
And the zoo.
And the zoo, which Jac Cags did not go to.
Nope. Maybe we could bring the zoo to him.
We should.
Make a trip down 29 with animals?
Yeah, pack up the truck, put some of those red pandas in there, and
how many red pandas are there?
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Do they
maybe just one?
Do they switch off from college basketball game to college basketball game?
Good one. A good one. It's a real life red panda.
Once again, we know my status on pandas.
It looks like a fox, almost.
It does.
There are a lot of people that see it in their backyard, and they're like, "Oh, red
I better
panda.
go post on Nextdoor about it."
Nobody has a better PR firm than pandas.
You know what? I have not read my Nextdoor.
No, I turned everything off on that.
Hold on.
Here. I turned everything off. I'm like, please do not notify me of anything.
What's Nextdoor?
It's an app where people from your neighborhood can go on and talk about things that are happening in
Absolutely
their neighborhood.
Not. I do not want to hear. I do not want to. I found out. I said we talked about this on the air today. You get to a certain age, and then you find out the drama of the neighborhood that you've been shielded from your entire life. I found out about a year and a half ago. I want nothing to do with it.
No, you don't need that.
I don't need that in my life.
No,
I don't. I don't need to know what you're doing. We know too much about people nowadays.
Good take.
Excellent take.
Like
excellent take.
I don't need to know.
Keep going.
I don't need to know that much about you.
Cook.
Yeah.
I don't. I have no interest. I don't need to see your Reddit story. I don't need to hear about your divorce. I don't need to hear about your love life. I don't need to hear about. There are some things. Okay, that's cool. We'll give that recognition. Attaboy, pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick. You should get honored for that. I would say 75% of the other things don't care.
Well, sometimes you find out
cancel
things
social media
like this.
I would love to.
This is from ME, who is on the Exarban Village next door.
From me.
It says, police department called today and 2 checks dated May 7th were found in a stolen car found in Council Bluffs. This was outgoing mail put in my mailbox. We'll be using the collection boxes from now on.
Nice. Yeah, who does?
The hell do I need to know any of that for?
But
exactly.
But
exactly.
But it raises a good point. Like, don't use the outgoing mail. Like, don't put your flag up in your driveway. Like,
that's a literal red flag.
Yeah, don't. People will come by and they'll steal that immediately. There's no need to do that. Just put it in the collection box. People used to do this, Matt. You might not know about this. In order to send mail, you put the flag up. You put mail in your mailbox. You put the flag up, and then the mailman comes and gets it, and it goes wherever it goes.
Guys, there wasn't just a USPS box on the corner of your street.
There always was, but people were less inclined to steal it back in the day. We were a better society.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I did not know that. I just walked over to my corner and I just plopped the mail.
That's the right way to do it.
The box.
That's the way you should do it.
I knew it was going out.
This one is. Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
this one is a random silver van driving around shooting squirrels in people's yards.
Oh, that's helpful.
Had to dispose of it when found after near 52nd and Bedford. Make sure to keep an eye on your dogs and cats if you let them outside. They'll probably shoot at them once they get tired of squirrels.
Whoa, that's fear-mongering.
I was with it. I was like, okay, that's a useful Nextdoor app post. And then it went to the extrapolation to the worst possible outcome.
The ususefulness of it
They're
to
gonna
me
shoot
is
your dog.
Nice. They're cleaning up the neighborhood,
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Get those
good
squirrels out of there.
Then they respond, they're looking for someone to pull weeds this week.
There you go.
And then the final one is the new bridge across 480 is bowed down in the middle. I'm no engineer, but it seems to me the peak of the bridge or structure such as this should be the highest point. Somebody must have gotten their measurements wrong. I foresee a dip in the road, which will cause potholes, water puddling, and endless repairs for the life of the boondoggle.
Did this person ever think maybe the bridge isn't done yet? Maybe they'll get rid of that.
I love I'm no engineer, but let me write 4 sentences about the engineering problems that we're going to have.
Maybe just let it play out. We'll see when that bridge gets done, and then you can comment.
Who cares? Just let them run over the potholes. We've been running over potholes anyway. This city has so many potholes.
Yeah, you could definitely get some likes on Nextdoor if you want to go complain about potholes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not shocked that there are so many tire shops around the city because of how many pop tires there must be from the potholes that I run over.
Next mayor, we'll get them all fixed.
He actually brought that up in an interview.
Of course
he said,
he
I guess
did.
they're my problem now.
Wow.
Well, he's
That's
right.
That's one hell of a way to look at it.
We have hardships in our life. Do you guys think it's hard to feel bad for a guy that is dating a model that probably will sign a $500 million contract?
Dependent on the hardship.
Okay, repeat the question.
So,
yeah.
do you think it's hard to feel bad for a guy who is dating a model who will eventually sign $500 million contract?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that person might have hardships in their life too,
but it's harder.
It's definitely harder than feeling bad for a normal person.
Do you know?
It's harder.
Most people would say no because she's going to make a lot of money. Do you know who has made it? You feel bad for this guy?
How the Pittsburgh Pirates?
The Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skeens.
Well, I mean, he's got hardships. They can't get wins, and he's never allows any runs.
But most people go, "Oh, he's got his girlfriend. She's going to make all kinds of." And then you look at the Pirates, and you're like, "I feel bad for Skeens."
I don't really feel bad for Paul Skeens.
She's the one that's going to make all the money in that relationship?
Well,
he will do well, but I think that I think her earning power is a little bit higher.
Are we paying models top dollar?
I was about to
nowadays?
say she's not signing a max contract.
So when does he go to free agency?
After 2027.
Currently,
Trips, turn the radio off.
Currently, right now, she makes more money than him because MLB rookie contracts don't pay a whole lot.
Correct. He's currently salary making $875,000, but he did have like a $10 million signing bonus.
Yes, and he's got arbitration coming up here.
But she also makes way too much money, an exuberant amount.
So if you're Paul Skeens next year, what do you tell the arbitration
officer
what you want?
$20 million.
You start at 20, and then they're like, what about 5?
And then and then you get to 14, and you're like, thanks.
All right. Cool.
I'll take it. And then you're at 14, and then you go, I don't want to be at 26.
When everybody knows that there would be, they could be paying him $35 million a year right now.
Do you think if the Pirates right now offered him an extension?
Oh, great question. Kind of feels like no. Kind of feels like no.
No.
He would say no.
Kind of feels like he'd
say
that.
it's too early. I want to see how this plays out.
Shout out Kansas City, man.
Yep.
Shout out the Royals.
A lot of teams are doing it.
You should do it.
You just sign those guys up long term.
You absolutely should do it. You should pay more money now so you don't have to get into that bidding war with teams that you can't compete against.
And it offers goodwill to the player.
Yes.
Do we know how Skeens is wired when it comes to that?
Great question. He doesn't seem like a big money guy.
I get no read. I have zero read on that.
Doesn't he strike you as a guy that that's the team that drafted me. I'm very loyal to a fault.
He also seems like the guy though that would be like, I'm sick of this S.
I mean, I guess he did move from Air Force to LSU.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think he has a personality though.
Right.
No, Connor, it is kind of rude to say, but I don't disagree with you. Like the guy is kind of like a loaf of bread.
Little robotic.
Yeah. Which is why, I mean, he is the Scotty Scheffler
he was a cadet
of baseball. But now Scotty Scheffler is like personable because he's holding the baby that has crap stains.
Exactly. That makes him cool.
It does make him cool.
Not the flat stick in his hand.
That's what he needs to do. He needs to have
all Skeens and Livy Dunn need to have a baby.
Have a kid and have poop going up that kid's back.
Well, Matt Perkins over here. Nice to meet you.
Fast forwarded pretty quick.
Now, not to
have sex,
get us in trouble.
Go ahead.
I mean, that removes a lot of her earning potential for a year or two.
Does it? Because I just looked up after you said, what do models make?
Careful.
Giselle.
Whatever you're about to say.
Giselle makes $33 million a year.
But
doing what?
Well,
she's modeling.
She's an international supermodel.
$33 million.
So the highest paid model in the United States is Kendall Jenner.
Oh, sure.
She's a
billionaire.
$40 million a year.
That's cool.
Chrissy Teigen, $39 million.
Chrissy Teigen, what's she been up to?
Yeah, I haven't seen her model.
Is she modeling cookbooks?
She started having kids.
Now, Heidi Klum doesn't do as much modeling, but her empire is like $40 million a year.
Project Runway is incredible.
So high-end models, and I don't know where Livy Dunn would fit in on that. That's your range.
Can Chrissy Teigen do the splits on the stage?
Unsure.
I don't know.
Not anymore.
I don't know. You know? I don't know.
You don't want to talk about models?
I don't know. You get what you get, you know?
You're a fastball and slider guy. You're not a what's walking down the runway guy.
Sinker slider.
Yeah, you wonder.
Not a split. You don't like a split,
No.
do you?
So
That
maybe
doesn't
the
need to be too
market for
complicated.
models is coming back
Slaughter.
because
The market, did it go away? Did COVID hit that industry hard?
Giselle in 2014 made $47 million.
I mean, she also was
Is that
married
just Tom
to somebody.
Brady cutting her
Yeah,
checks?
Yeah, I was about to say, did Brady pull a Belichick before Belichick and give her $8 million and
Hey, how does
real estate?
the signing bonus work? Do you just get it all in a bunch in a load?
And then they
in a load?
then they take all those taxes out.
Sure. So Skeen's probably got for his $10 million, he probably got $5 million.
Probably
just plopped right in there.
Yeah.
How much of that do you think he spent? Like $100?
Well, so did you see the house that they?
What does that guy do?
He got a Costco membership.
Okay.
He's got to donate all that
So-
money to
He
the
filled up his tank of
military.
gas.
Every strikeout.
It's
Did
been on
you-
half his entire life.
Did you watch any when they were together in GQ? The GQ did a separate video of them asking each other questions, and they were in their home.
Yeah.
It looked like a very modest home in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
it didn't look like super on a golf course, fancy. It looked like it was in a regular neighborhood because they had a bay window behind them, and it looked like right across the street was their neighbors.
I'd probably just have apartments everywhere if I.
So
I would. That's what I would do. I would just have apartments all over the country.
So we now know the origin story of how they met, right? She went to a game, they met there, whatever.
Pretty much. She had eyes for him.
There was this famous Snapchat story that
Wow, famous Snapchat.
that came out
Please
about
tell me about
that apparently, and you can look this up, that Livy Dunn said that they bonded, that they became boyfriend and girlfriend over the fact that they couldn't go anywhere around campus without being like harassed.
Of course.
Which is basically saying we got along so well because we're both famous as crap.
Yeah. So why not put those powers together and then really not be able to
really
do
not
that?
be
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, back to the models. She
Back
might have
to
an
the
uphill
models.
battle because there aren't many
I
models
don't
that are
think she
from the
does.
U.S.
I don't think she
that are
does.
on this
I
list.
don't think we're doing models anymore.
Poll question.
So it's Brazil, United Kingdom, Netherlands.
Yeah, there needs to be a worldliness about
But
you
she
that I
would
just
be-
don't know that Livy Dunn has.
She would be like a new phase of like
Mhm.
model. Like she would be the new like generation of model because she's. I don't want to get into this.
Now
I'm gonna
I
get
could
in
see
so
her
much
doing
trouble.
a lot of like the Viore ads that she does, like makeup, cosmetics.
Fitness is in.
Yeah,
Fitness is in. Like having a little bit more muscle and being and like working out and everything like that. That's like in the trends now. And if they're going that way, there you go.
So what's this
I'm gonna
story
stop
about
it right there?
about this guy who called? Jack is really wondering about
Jack has
this.
asked us
Yeah.
a number of questions in the YouTube
S-
chat that
so-
I'd like to get
so
to.
we had a caller, Nathan from Ohio.
right.
He was on a road trip to Disney. Okay, so he goes going on a road-
Disneyland or Disney World?
Disney World in Orlando.
Okay.
From Ohio to Disney World,
Scott Frost.
16 hours.
Mhm.
Okay,
So
so
be in
we
the video games. See that? He
Yeah,
opted in.
He doesn't like it. He doesn't like video games. I believe that. Totally.
I don't know.
He left his PlayStation behind.
There's one.
Yeah,
There's
his-
one he likes.
I actually know the whereabouts of his PlayStation.
He sold it in everybody's DMs that one
Nope,
time. Oh
nope.
no, that was
that was laptops.
that was MacBooks.
Yeah, no, there's a
Which was one of the craziest days ever. Like
Didn't Coach McDermott get hacked too with the PlayStations?
there was a run of like prominent coaches that got hacked, and they were all selling laptops.
That's awesome. Okay, sorry, keep going.
so
What's
he's-
the story?
So it's a great call. You got to listen back to the call. So we go, oh, how many people are you going with? And he goes, we're going with 15 people. I'm like, whoa, okay. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, I have 10 daughters
All right.
and 2 other kids, or two boys. And then he explained that one of his daughters is currently pregnant at 37 weeks.
So that's why they're driving.
And that's why they're driving. And then on top of that, they're not just going to Disney World for like a day.
I don't
They're
think
going-
you should go to Disney World at 37 weeks. But
No.
continue on.
They're
Yeah.
going for 2 weeks.
That's too much.
No.
Too close.
so, which means that there's a pretty high likelihood that her water is going to break
Definitely.
In
in
Disney World.
in Disney World.
Oh,
and then
happiest place on earth.
and then we asked him, what are the ranges of your kids, right? Thinking, all right, you got
Okay.
12 kids, you're taking this big vacation, maybe they're a little bit more, closer together. They have a 7-month-year-old. that they're
21
going with.
to
What?
7 months. Now,
Are they
has-
trying to have the
now-
baby born at Disney
I
and like
have
get
no-
stuff
Kind of seems
out
like
of
it.
it?
Kind of seems like it.
Also, too, what is the over/under for
That
the
is-
expenses of that trip?
Hey, think about that though. Like, what does Disney do if you give labor inside of the park?
I
Can you
guarantee
They have a plan.
guarantee there's
Lifetime?
a plan.
Can you
They have
imagine if
written
There's
in a
probably
handbook
plan, but am I
somewhere.
getting like lifetime like lifetime passes?
Can you
for
imagine?
admission?
Can you imagine a dude in a Gaston costume is telling your wife, "Push, push, bring it"? Hey,
All right,
we
here
need
we
more
go.
help. 4 princesses walk in.
You're on. It's a Small World, and you're singing that damn song.
Where was
Here
I,
we go. Here we go.
It
Where's I born,
forces-
Mama? The Bibbidi Boppity Boutique.
InsideTheMagic.net. Baby born at Disney. What happens when you give birth at the parks? All right.
This is on their website.
This is on a website.
A website.
You have to.
If
listen
you've
to the
spent
calls.
time in the Disney corner of the internet, you've likely encountered the rumor that being born in a Disney park guarantees you a lifetime pass.
Yes!
Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
What a play!
But despite the fact that Disneyland, this is Disneyland, I assume it's the same rules, opened nearly 70 years ago, there hasn't exactly been a huge number of births to test this theory. Immersive though the parks may be, all sit close enough to medical services that your odds of going into labor and actually giving birth before you can be whisked into a hospital are extremely slim. However, one baby did in fact defy the odds in 1979. Give us an idea of exactly what happens when you go into labor on a Disney property. Rosa and Elias Salcedo were visiting Disneyland, riding the submarine voyage, now known as the Finding Nemo submarine voyage, in
It's a good
Tomorrowland.
ride. It's a
When
good
a
ride.
heavily pregnant Rosa started experiencing sharp pains, the pain got worse, blah, blah, blah. Teresa was born, the first official baby born at Disney. This is like one of those recipe things.
Too many ads.
Ignore those long-term rumors about Disney building a maternity ward. Geez, these rumors, I just don't know about this.
Look,
Yay.
it's an incredible call because the way that he presented it, it was a downward spiral, right?
Well-
We started at Disney trip. Then we started at, we're going with the whole family. Then it was, my daughter's 37 months pregnant or 37 weeks pregnant. Then it got to, I have 10 daughters. Okay. Then it got to, we're staying there for 2 weeks.
Okay.
It was just a snowball effect of what's going on.
What's the price tag on all this?
It is.
Teresa, the baby, while Disney cast members, medical staff from First Aid fully intended to evaluate Rosa's situation and assumingly have her taken to the nearest hospital, things were moving too quickly. As a result, Teresa was born on Main Street, USA. That's obviously not the ideal location to give birth, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Seeing as how Disney 100% does not want its parks turned into a makeshift birthing facility, offering a lifetime pass as a potential incentive for doing so would be a not so smart idea. With that in mind, you shouldn't be shocked to discover that no, Disney does not offer a lifetime pass if your child is born there.
Oh.
Can you imagine like Mickey and Pluto and Daffy just kind of hanging out by young Teresa.
Mhm.
But Teresa was gifted a birth certificate that read Disneyland birth certificate number 1, awarded in a ceremony in front of the Sleeping Beauty castle.
Do you think that Disney Ward takes Blue Cross Blue Shield? Can you imagine?
Yeah, what's the insurance
Mickey's
situation?
like, we
Now,
don't
there's
do
got to
that.
be a follow up to this 46 years later. Like,
Yeah, what's Teresa up to?
is she a
can't-
Disney fan? Like, does she
Oh,
go
you
back to
gotta
the
be,
parks
right?
every year, living in, let's just say, Southern California?
In 2002, a baby was born backstage after a mother went into labor outside of the entrance. 10 years later, another baby was born outside Disneyland when a woman unexpectedly went into labor in the Anaheim parking lot. So there you go. There's your short history of births inside. It turns out that you do not get. You do not get.
What do you
any
do
special
for
treatment.
food? 14 days, 15 people.
It's all inclusive, baby.
That's what Jack's asking
Yeah.
in the chat. It's like the grocery bill on this thing. Because you have to
Well,
stay at like an Airbnb
Are
or
they
a
staying
Vrbo.
at?
Yes.
Are they? Well, if they're staying at a Disney hotel, they give you food swipes at a Disney hotel. When I stayed at the Polynesian Hotel in Orlando, Florida, in 2012, we had X amount of swipes we needed to use.
and
That
how,
included the hotel and the park.
how long does this stay?
14 days.
So this is like almost $100,000 probably.
100?
I mean, I don't know. Like, think about it.
Well, so a 3-day pass. is-
15 people,
a 3-day pass.
lodging,
So he's
food.
but they're going to go park hopping. Not all the Disney properties. They will probably go to the other amusement parks in Orlando.
There's
Gatorland.
I can't even wrap my head around taking my one child and my 3-person family to Disney World.
Well, they're taking a Sprinter van. They have
Are they going to live in there?
Now there's something.
That's a good question.
This would be a great movie.
But I was disappointed because they're not doing it.
That's what Jack said.
They're not all going to be dressed in character with shirts and ears,
okay.
where they can keep track of each other. Like, you go to the parks and you'll see, even like Adventureland.
Now, is this the best way to do it? Do you take them all at once, or do you split the family up into shifts, like year shifts?
Well, I don't think they have the personnel to split them up into shifts. I'm pretty sure they're 12 kids and 1 parent and 2 parent. I think it's just 2 parents and 12 kids. I would have to know.
God bless you, Nathan.
You would have
a 16-hour drive.
You would have to. Your
before
face.
you
kids
even
want to
get
pull over
to
and see the world's largest
the
ball of
happiest
mud.
place in the world.
We're only 250 miles away from the world's largest ball of mud.
I mean, you're
Honey,
still
let's
kind of
stop in
cramped in
Tallahassee.
that Sprinter van.
Yeah.
Gotta get gas.
So he said they separated. The older kids were with his wife. The younger kids were with him. But somehow he was able to break off a phone call. So maybe things are going well a couple hours into their trip south.
I can't imagine growing up in a 12-kid family. Like, do you think there are cliques within the family? Like, there's friend groups within the family?
Yeah, there's got to be, right?
There's got to be. Like,
you got to find somebody to hang out with.
Like, there's got to be one sibling that hasn't talked or hasn't had a conversation with another sibling for like 8 months.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't sat
What have you
down.
been up to?
Yeah, exactly.
That 21-year-old would have trouble with the 7-month-old.
It's like a football team.
Now, to be fair,
It is a little. Who's on offense? Who's on defense?
He said that 6 of them are their children. They've adopted 5.
Okay.
Well, that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
I can't remember what he said about the other one.
You're still responsible for
the other
them,
one
though.
is
the oldest.
Yeah.
By the way, they're already grandparents as well.
Right. So there's another grandchild coming.
They're already
They
there.
will have
I think.
3 grandchildren now.
All right.
I think there might be. Is the grandkid? You got to think the grandkid's coming with
Now,
too, right?
if you are taking, if like, let's say my parents decided that they want to take everybody to Disney World,
you would have to go.
Am I footing the bill for my family, or does it all fall? Does it all go to the top?
Who invited who?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's where it starts.
Right.
Exactly.
So whose idea was this? I guess is the real question.
Guys, I can find no information about this baby born at Disney. I have a name and nothing else.
Teresa.
Why do you not
H.
do a follow? Hey, don't worry. In 2 weeks, there will be another baby born at Disney, and we will know exactly who they are.
And it'll be the biggest story in the country.
And they'll call into this radio
we will
show.
get them live here on 1620 The Zone.
Yeah, we'll have the story.
First interview.
There is, like when you are at the park, there are certain rides, like they do have warnings about being pregnant to get on Space Mountain, for example.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that.
Well, that's the other thing. This woman cannot
be participating.
Do anything but walk around the park.
We asked why.
And eat the food.
We asked why. And he goes, well, she has a fear of FOMO.
Fear of missing out.
Okay.
She's got FOMO.
I guess.
And mom would be in Orlando, not back in Ohio when.
So the rationale that he gave was, well, mom would have to fly back anyway from Orlando to Ohio. So we might as well just cut the head off the snake and put the baby in Orlando.
There's a comment from Jack Mitchell. One of the kids is 7 months now and is about to be an uncle.
That is true.
Jack was texting me profusely right after the call.
He's commenting profusely.
He was like,
do you have a way to contact this caller?
Nathan, he sends us cigars.
I have his address. I don't have his.
Okay.
We have caller ID.
You should hear about the cigar he's going to send us. It's 14 inches long and 4 inches wide.
14-inch cigar.
But
that's excessive.
The way
it's
Nathan
called the
talks,
Moab.
I'm thinking that Nathan
Nathan
can
is
have this
loaded.
large a family and go to Disney with 18 people.
What is Nathan the CEO of?
Prasco Park.
Remember, he also gets 2 weeks off.
That's Prasco Pharmaceuticals.
Oh my! Maybe he's Nathan Prasco.
Let's do a whole baseball tournament for free.
Nathan's been calling the radio station for years.
He does live in Ohio.
That's why I said maybe he invented Chick-fil-A night in Prasco Park.
We got to get Jack the contact info because I don't know if you guys know
think
this
Jack
about
wants
Jack.
to have
He has
Nathan
a
from
news
Ohio
talk
on his show.
Jack hosts about 7 hours of live radio every day.
I'm telling you right now, I think Jack wants his number and wants to have a full-on discussion with this man.
Yeah. Well,
it'd be a great interview.
It'd be a great interview.
NRG Media, the family of stations.
You have to listen to the call though, because it truly was a snowball effect of just unraveling more and more layers.
I don't know. I think I'm just going to get frustrated that I don't get answers to anything
Jack
that I
says,
want answers to.
Also, if the mom flew back to Ohio, can you imagine the dad situation back in Orlando?
Now that would be the movie.
That would be the movie.
It'd be like a Cheaper by the Dozen style, like, oh my gosh, dads can't take care of kids.
Jack
by the Dozen. That movie kind of rocks.
Yeah. Cheaper by the Dozen in Disney.
Poll question: do you mess with Cheaper by the Dozen?
It's a great movie. Illinois football is a big part of that movie.
Is it? It's not specific.
They have a pretty big part in Illinois.
I always found it hard to believe that Steve Martin was a football coach. That just didn't work for me.
Dick Butkus was,
I don't know.
His was brought up in the movie multiple times.
Steve Martin, I don't see him as a football coach. That's
a good take.
So Jack texted me. And I don't think he'll mind me reading this. He goes, also, it's guaranteed someone gets sick. How in the hell do they pack for 18 people, including kids and babies, in 2 vans?
I think you give them all like per diems. Like you give them.
I think you know what? They might be doing that.
You give
forever.
them all. You give them all charge cards, and you load up like $50 a day, and say you're on your own.
Kids, we're building your credit early.
Yeah, you get your. If you want to spend $4.50 on a Mountain Dew at a gas station, that's up to you. You only get $50 a day.
I think it needs to be. That's a lot, by the way, $50 a day.
But it might be a case. I'm not sure the middle ages. But do you think that Nathan is a leash guy?
Oh,
you got to have one of those that has like multiple collars on.
Can you imagine a 20-year-old on a leash?
So the first time it wasn't Disney, it was another amusement park. But the first time I saw a kid on a leash, that had a backpack, and I'm like, oh my God, they have the kid on a leash. I lost it.
Yeah.
Not understanding that that's probably the best way to keep track of that kid.
I get it now.
But
I don't condone it, but I get it.
Yeah. They don't want to sit in a stroller all day.
Right.
I know, but like you go to like a school and you'll see the kids going out for recess and they'll all be holding on to a rope. So they all stay in line and together. But like at amusement parks, the leash thing is like becoming very popular. I don't know.
On the streets of Chicago, they're everywhere. There are a lot of like Millennium. You go to the Loop, you go to Millennium Park, kids on leashes.
Yeah, but if you
go
got
to the Loop,
if you got 10 kids, 15 kids,
that's a lot of leashes.
Then you have to, right? Because you can't keep track of all.
You have to have team captains, right?
Yeah, you're gonna need some help from the older kids,
like the 17-year-old and 18-year-old.
Do they want to?
Maybe you do a draft. At the start of the vacation, everybody piles in the car. You elect captains, and then you say, okay, draft your team, and then you're responsible for your team throughout the trip.
I think the smart thing to do actually would be, let's all fill out a Google form, and let's all put what you want to do and the things that you're most interested in doing at Disney World, and then we are going to match up each group by the similarities in the Google form.
Oh. Interesting.
And then that way you get to mark off, we don't have people crying for not doing certain things.
Also, by the way, this is one of their high volume time periods because school is out across the country.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be 90 to 95.
And it'll rain every day at 2:00.
And by the way, water ain't cheap over there. I mean, they might spend a couple grand on just buying water bottles.
Platcat writes in, Steve Martin hosting a college football practice in his residential neighborhood is one of the most unrealistic movie scenes out there. I agree. That is not real. It's not real.
I'm not saying
Hillary
it's real.
Duff was one of the kids.
Yeah. And who was
Wait a minute. So what is more, Steve Martin in that or Goldie Hawn in Wildcats?
Yeah, both are really out of place.
Let me tell you something right now.
Both are really out of place.
Matt Damon and The Legend of Bagger Vance had a terrible golf swing. Okay. That was the most unrealistic thing.
Josh, do you ever wonder why they didn't make a sequel to Wildcats?
I've never really sat and pondered that.
It's a thought worth thinking about, though.
So that was a pretty good cast. Very underrated cast. Like some people that was like one of their first or second movies. And then they started to, like, Woody Harrelson was in that movie.
Woody.
Nipsey Russell.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that the over-under mixed sports book will set the over-under for this Disney World trip for 16 people over 2 weeks at 42.5.
Oh, it's more. It's more.
Wesley Snipes.
Do you think it's more?
No, go through the list of
Bruce McGill, who we all know and love from, I believe Black Sheep would be the thing people know him best from.
Let me go to the Cheaper by the Dozen cast.
Well, I'm looking at the Wildcats.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, Cheaper by the Dozen has the girl who would then play Vanessa on Phineas and Ferb.
Whoa, I don't know what
That's
that
an
is.
animated program.
Yeah, it is. But she was the voice actress for it. What happened to those two?
Beans is in there.
Who's Beans?
The kid who played Beans on
Beans
Even Steven.
Yeah.
Never seen Even Steven.
Might have been before your time.
Yeah.
I was right.
Richard
after-
Jenkins was
Richard
in there.
Jenkins.
Richard Jenkins
Yes.
what was Richard Jenkins doing? Oh, he was an assistant coach, wasn't he? I think he was one of the assistant coaches.
Alan Ruck.
Yeah. I don't know what he was doing in there. All the con heads. We're getting ready to go.
is LL Cool J.
Ashton Kutcher.
A couple of great
He was
casts.
a boyfriend.
Yeah,
I think
he was the hot guy.
He was the boyfriend of Hillary Duff, I think, wasn't he?
Well, wasn't he a different? Wasn't he a Cooper or something, or wasn't he a part of the rival family or so? Or no. Hillary Duff and him were brother and sister.
He was.
You said the boyfriend.
Oh yeah, maybe.
So Ashton Kutcher, he was in
Some families are
there,
like that.
There was the hat. There was the Coopers, and then there was
He had Baum Walker this weekend.
what was the guy from Schitt's Creek?
Tua. Did you guys see that
I
tweet?
did. It was a good one.
They deleted it.
Why?
When Gagewood hawked a loogie, they said hog Tua. And then they deleted the tweet. It was a great tweet.
Why do those two have to play this weekend and they can't? We want them in Omaha.
Right.
Seriously. I want Dave Van Horn and Tony Vitello to fight each other in Omaha, not in Arkansas.
The two Cheaper by the Dozen movies starring Steve Martin are both on Disney Plus.
Of course.
Oh, I watched one of them recently on Disney Plus. I forget the Schitt's Creek dad. He was in it. What's his name again?
Eugene Levy.
Yeah, Eugene
Yeah.
Levy.
What was his family's last name?
I don't know.
Hatfields
idea.
and the McCoys.
Wildcat's not streaming anywhere right now, sadly. You can rent it though.
I
Hey,
say
It's
Eugene
it's
Levy came up,
been
so
a while,
Josh
about-
has to
I think
say the
about
line.
40 years.
Josh, say the line from Vacation.
You think you hate it now? Wait till you drive
What
it.
do you drive it?
That's the same guy.
It's the same guy. It's the same guy. Have you tried the Model P or whatever it is? It's a damn fine automobile. Damn fine automobile.
They just don't make them like they used to.
I love in that scene his feigned outrage at the wrong car showing up.
Yeah.
Right.
Get this man his car back.
Get Mr. Griswold's automobile.
And it comes back and it's smushed. Classic. You got to watch Vacation, Matt. Do it.
I will.
It's a great movie.
I'll come back and report.
a great
Vacation, and because it just celebrated it coming out 40 years ago, Fletch.
Christmas Vacation?
No,
Or-
regular National Lampoon's Vacation.
I'll
Fletch
watch
is
that
terrific.
today because I don't have to do anything.
Do it.
Oh, actually, I'll watch it tomorrow.
Fat
Not
Sam.
streaming anywhere. Sad.
Fletch is not?
Vacation.
Oh.
Fletch is
But you
next
can buy it
summer.
on YouTube. You can buy anything on
Vacation
YouTube.
actually shows up on the country music television a lot.
It does.
Really?
Yeah.
Fletch
show-
also not streaming
They
anywhere.
show movies because sometimes I'll watch the top 20 countdown from 8 to 11 on Saturdays.
Why wouldn't you?
Hell yeah.
At 11, then they'll run like an old movie, like a comedy.
Son-in-law.
Yeah, Vacation shows up like I would say once a month.
That's great. That's great.
Or other bad Goldie Hawn movies with Kurt Russell.
I'll watch Vacation,
So good.
and I got to rewatch Hoop Dreams. I just bought Hoop Dreams on YouTube.
Nice. You got a full day in front of you.
I know. Full day.
That's 3 hours
So
right
much
there.
work.
Hoop Dreams.
Well, I will always rewatch Hoop Dreams. That is the most rewatchable 3-hour movie I think ever.
Sam writes in before
Hi,
we
Sam.
go here. Imagine the week of 1620 content and callers when it comes out that Nebraska's coach used his team to wrangle his billion kids or whatever happened in the first Cheaper by the Dozen.
We can only hope and pray.
That would be a great movie. A Nebraska head football coach.
Hey, we're gonna hire this coach, but the problem is he has 14 kids. Do you think that he can really be a good football coach?
He's gonna his attention is too divided. He can't be a successful
How did
football
Steve Martin
coach.
get that job? It had to be an NAIA job.
He had to know people. He had to be like the longtime assistant coach of the head coach. And like he would have to be the Ed Foley of that head coach's program.
Can you imagine?
Poll question: is Steve Martin Cheaper by the Dozen Ed Foley?
Can you imagine reading a bio of a coach or they show whenever they put in the media guide the family photo.
Oh yeah, it's just all of them,
and it's a panoramic.
I could.
It's one of those where you have to swipe on Instagram and it's two pictures.
It's the one where you have to have a runner for it to be even. You have to have a kid in both sides of the picture.
Their family picture is actually the 11 that are lined up in football positions.
There you go.
Who's
the quarterback?
What do you do for COVID? It's a tough quarantine.
All right. Well, you guys have a great day. Enjoy vacation.
Yeah,
Great
tomorrow.
movie.
That's on tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I'm golfing today.
That is the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair. Omaha, everlevelconcrete.com. It's Wednesday. We'll start things off next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
We got a really nice day in the works here for your Wednesday afternoon, but do know here for your Wednesday morning, there is a chance you could run into some very patchy but dense fog. It'll be in isolated areas and by no means widespread, so have the fog lights ready to go. Into the afternoon, temperatures rise into the upper 70s outside, light winds, and a decent amount of sunshine. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
Let me share a little secret. It's not what you eat, it's how you feel. No Name Nutrition offers more than health food. They provide personalized service that nourishes the soul. As a family-owned business with personal shopping services, they know what you need to thrive. Mark your calendar for Customer Appreciation Days, June 6th and 7th from 10 to 5 for special treats. Find everything to fuel your journey
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It's Wednesday here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. Hello. All right, went off a weird tangent there on Cheaper by the Dozen, the crossover. I like it.
I liked it as well.
I like it. It's a movie that I have seen. Josh, of course I have.
I got to meet you where you are, right?
Yeah. I could probably do more in meeting you halfway, but yeah, I appreciate the effort on your part. Today on the show, Robin Washut is going to join here in just a minute. So let's preview this show. That's the lineup. No Mitch today. He's out of town.
That's right. He tweeted, "Hey, I just want to get this out there before it maybe happens. I want Duke and North Carolina in the College World Series.
Yep.
I'll back to my vacation."
Okay, he's gone. So Robin is our guest today. That's the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Also, it is Wednesday, so today is I Have an Opinion Day. Send in your opinions to any of these places. 402-951-1620, the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could text that in. You can call in during the show as well. Twitter at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Josh O at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Or you could comment in on YouTube, which we said good morning to all the YouTubers this morning. Hi. And if you do, and if we like it, it's totally subjective, and Josh will make this decision. You are immediately making yourself eligible to win a prize. You get a prize, maybe $50 worth of gift certificates to Backlot Tap House. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hell yeah.
Watch out.
Tarek Scooble pizza.
Get some Detroit-style pizza. The Tigers are good for some reason. It triggers me.
Go Tigers.
So you can send those in, and we will open up that at noon. Elsewhere on the show today, yes, we'll talk about Cags. I know he went 0 for 5. He loves going 0 for 5 before immediately going on a gigantic tear.
That's right. That's how you know.
He hit baseballs extremely hard last night, and yes, I am excited about this. Maybe a bigger story within this whole playoff conversation that we'll get into today. Maybe it's not just about the playoff. Maybe the real playoff was the friends we made or lost along the way.
Oh, wow.
And so you guys know Nebraska can't pay for all this, right? We'll talk about that today.
All this.
All this. And Mr. Yogurt has an update on facilities with Amy Just today. We'll get into that. What do you want out of the College World Series? The Rockies won a series. We're rooting for Canada in hockey. It's time. And we comment today on America's recent obsession with the McDonald's snack wrap. I have questions.
I'm glad someone is asking these questions because they've been secret thoughts that I've had.
Okay. Well,
been too scared.
Yep, we're gonna get them out there. Also, happy 6-4 day to everybody. Iowa beat Penn State 6-4 in the year 2004, and took a purposeful safety with 8 minutes to go in the game and made it 6-4. And so then we have the 6-4 game from now until the rest of time. So when you think of today, when you think of June 4th, you think of Iowa football just field going their way to, at that point, a 5-2 season in 2004. Off and running today. Thanks for being with us. Once again, let's get out of here real quick, and we'll talk with Robin Washut on the other side. Some updates from him, football-wise, basketball-wise, with the Huskers and beyond. We will do that next. Thanks for being with us on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
the biggest basketball coaching convention of.
And work on your school stuff while you listen.
What?
You don't want them there? Yeah, I'm talking.
What is going on? Robin, are you okay?
Robin Washut.
Are your kids near you, or what just happened?
Husker Online.
I took a lot of preparation to make this thing a flawless interview, and clearly I still can't avoid it.
Robin Washut, Husker Online.
Maybe it was aliens. Maybe it was a phenomenon that we can't explain.
The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, let's have a chat with Robin Washut from HuskerOnline.com. Joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Robin, what's cracking?
What's up?
What are you doing?
Driving over to the Husker Online offices to record our Husker Online Show podcast.
You guys are bringing the heat as far as the guests are concerned these days. Is there any famous dignitaries or luminaries that you're having on today?
Not that I know of, but I know that one of our sponsors, Zipline, is going to stop by and introduce their new summer seltzer that they're coming out with.
Nice.
So anybody that likes Zipline that wants an alternative to domestic and craft brew, they had a seltzer coming out this summer that is debuting, I think, this month, and we're going to get the one of the first tastes of it. So big day today.
Look at that. That's huge. That's perfect. One of the recent guests, I believe, was recent quarterback commit Trey Taylor, who has been very out there on social media and stuff like that, and he's sort of spearheading all of this stuff with the camps this week. He's all about Nebraska. What impressions have you got from him and sort of over the last few weeks now? He's been all in on Big Red.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of doing all the things off the field that you would want the kind of future quarterback of your program to do, and he's embracing kind of all the, I don't want to say stardom, but celebrity that comes with it, but also being proactive and trying to create some buzz around Nebraska, where he's actively peer recruiting and he's promoting Nebraska football, even though he's not going to be here for another couple of years. So like that, that's always good to see. Guys that aren't scared of the spotlight. A lot of times you have players that are really talented, but they don't really want anything to do with everything else that comes with being the face of a program. And so Dylan Raiola was another case of that, where he embraced all of that comes with that title and that responsibility, both on the field, in the locker room, and then out in public as kind of a representative of your program. So that, I think Trey is following in those same footsteps, to where he kind of understands the responsibility and then also the opportunity that comes with being the starting quarterback at Nebraska. And he's diving headfirst into all of it.
Hey, what do you think? What do you think these camps will look like? I mean, specifically this weekend. It's going to be. We'll talk about more of this with Munson when we talk with him on Friday. But just from an atmosphere standpoint, people, there seems to be some buzz about this coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what it looks like. Obviously we've seen about the pinnacle of summer camps under the Riley era with those Friday Night Lights events, where had upwards around 10,000 people filling the stands, live DJ playing music. It was quite the event back then. This one's going to be a little different in the sense that it's actually like a competitive game type thing, where you've got the 7-on-7 stuff with elite players from around the country all coming there as part of this 7-on-7 circuit. So it's going to be a little bit different in that regard. But I also like how Nebraska, as the athletic department, is really embracing this, becoming as big of an event as they can make it by offering food and giveaways for the first 500 whatever people that show up. So they're trying to make an effort to draw as many people to this deal as possible, because I think they understand kind of what this could become, not just from a here and now recruiting standpoint, but to make Lincoln and Memorial Stadium a destination for these types of camps and these types of events. Because what a perfect opportunity to get some of the best players from around the country to come basically on an unofficial visit, see everything you have to offer, and coaches to be able to interact with them and really get a jump start and making inroads with recruits that maybe you might not normally get that kind of one-on-one in-person type of experience with. So there's a lot of opportunity with a camp like this, and especially if they're able to get a crowd. People were asking on our chat this week what the attendance guess would be, and I think a lot of us kind of agree that anything above about 5,000 would be really good, and if they got closer to what they got with those Friday Night Light camps, that'd be exceptional. So we'll see what it looks like, but I'm very intrigued with what this event could be this year, and then what kind of doors it could open for future events down the road.
Well, and then from a football perspective, I mean, June all of a sudden now is a pretty big month, where it used to be kind of slow, and now we're talking about like real football stuff being done from from the Nebraska side of things, and really anybody this month, given what they're now allowed to do. Like, how big of a deal is the next month before we go into July, where yes, there's some dead period in there, but really you start gearing up toward the season? Like, it feels like these are now important moments as well over these next few weeks for the football team that we have on hand.
Yeah, for sure. And from a recruiting standpoint, again, just being able to get guys on campus, that's in itself worth its weight in gold. I mean, just to host that many visitors in this type of setting, and not just host them on a visit, but get actual on-field instruction. Build some of that football relationship to it, where it's hard to replicate that when you go visit a kid at school, or do an in-home visit or something like that. So, ton of value that way. And then just with the way the recruiting calendar is now, like this is a pretty important part of kind of getting the ball rolling on some of these future classes, not just with the 26 class that lies ahead, but you're building inroads with 27, 28, maybe even beyond, that kind of set the table for future classes down the road. So there's a ton of immediate value to these types of deals, but then also really kind of establishing yourself as a legitimate player in the recruitment of some of these earlier class types of talents. I think there's just as much significance that way too.
What's going on with basketball right now? I know that you've posted some recruiting updates over the last couple of days. Is there anything we should be paying attention to from a basketball perspective?
Yeah, they're starting to roll in some visits. The one that confirmed last night was a 2026 kid by the name of Colin Rice, who plays at Waukee Northwest in Iowa. He's a 6'7", 6'8" wing that had a couple Big Ten offers. Nebraska was one of his first offers. Iowa, Northwestern are all very much involved, and he had a big weekend, on the recruiting, the AAU circuit, and kind of got a lot of a buzz that way. So he's one of those players that Nebraska, again, identified early and is trying to get the ball rolling as much as possible. They're going to get him on campus for a visit on June 15th through the 17th. I believe those are the dates. And so he's at Iowa right now on an official visit. And Iowa is the team to watch there, because Ben McCollum was one of Rice's very first offers when he was back at Drake. So that relationship goes back to his previous stop, and they quickly made Colin Rice a priority in their 26 class. Nebraska's making Rice a priority. Northwestern, they're going to host Rice on a visit at the end of the month. So those three schools are very much at the forefront of his recruitment, but I would expect more to get involved and probably get him on campus as the summer plays out. But that's kind of where they are on the recruiting front. You're starting to see some of these kind of top tier 2026 targets start to schedule visits. Another guy that we know is coming, Jason Singleton. He was on campus for the Iowa game this past season. He's going to come back for an official visit in the fall, I believe the weekend of the Michigan football game. So I would expect that weekend to be, as you would expect, a big visit weekend for everybody, but basketball included. So they got Singleton locked in for the fall. They got Rice coming in a week or so. And, I would expect maybe a few more to sprinkle in there. But that's kind of what's going on the recruiting front. Guys are starting to trickle their way back to campus this week, and the official summer workout start on they start on Monday, I believe. And so that is going to be kind of the the unofficial start of the off season. And again, they're going to have their entire roster on campus for that first workout, and they haven't had that luxury in a long time. So kind of a different off season, just in terms of having everybody together to build that on and off court chemistry. And we'll see just kind of what types of advantages that has compared to previous off.
All right, Robin, we'll let you go. Appreciate the time as always. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the new, what was it? A cider or a beer?
Seltzer.
Or seltzer.
So I'm confused. Like, I don't know if it's like kind of I don't know if you ever had like smoothie seltzers where they're like almost like smoothies.
Okay.
Like there's other craft breweries I know that have done those. So I'll give you a full report back on this about what it's all about. And we'll talk about it plenty on the show.
Please do. All right. Thanks. See you later.
Yeah. See ya.
Rod Washut, HuskerOnline.com, and aficionado of seltzers and what is it? Smoothie seltzer?
Smoothie seltzer?
That's a new thing for me.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Right?
I didn't understand your game.
I look forward to whatever that is on the Husker Online podcast. All right. We'll be back. 11 o'clock hour is coming up. A lot of things left to get into. We don't have Mitch today, so we're kind of open here for the next couple segments. Get in touch with the show. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, so I've been trying to wrap my head around this whole playoff thing. There's been so much conversation about it over the last couple weeks. So much so that I've grown annoyed with it.
Welcome to my side, Connor.
So I said this a couple weeks ago before we really haven't seen each other for the last 2 weeks, Josh.
That's right.
Like, I'm just like, I don't know. Figure it out.
Figure it out. Tell me what you figured out, and I will accept it.
So, what's his name? Mr. Sankey came through and said all those things. And meanwhile, Tony Petitti hasn't said anything. He's like,
for having a front-facing job, that guy really doesn't like talking to people.
He comes from the baseball school, Josh. So if I can try and sum it up, it basically lands here with the college football playoff. The SEC and the Big Ten were on the same page in terms of this whole automatic bid thing where each of, the 4-4-2-2-1-1-1 deal, where each of them get 4 automatic bids no matter what, and then the Big 12 gets 2 and the ACC gets 2, and then, Notre Dame and the group of 5 and whatever get 1. But we're talking about automatic qualifiers for the playoff, even though they're rigging it. They're trying to rig it in their favor. That's the way it used to be. As the SEC has come out and talked about this a lot now, they have sort of split off. The Big Ten hasn't said anything, so we're led to believe that the Big Ten is still in favor of this 4-4-2-2-1 thing. They're talking about, basically play-in college football playoff, play-in games and stuff like that, which would have, like Illinois would have been in a play-in game last year, or like I guess I don't even know how you would describe that. It's a play-in game to the college football playoff if you were to set it up that way. The SEC, it's now drifted off course a little bit. They've started to throw some support behind the idea that, all right, we'll just take the 5 conference champions. Those are the only automatic bids. And then we'll put 11 more in the playoff, and that's up to the committee. All right. So the SEC thinks, why do we think the SEC thinks that is a good idea? Because based on their schedule, based on the way they do things, if you look at the top 10 or 15 in the rankings every year, there's a lot of SEC teams at the top of those rankings. And it doesn't matter who you beat, right? They still have the 8-game conference schedules. So it's like, all right, we can get those teams in the top 15, then they're probably going to end up in the playoff, or they're going to give themselves the best chance. Meanwhile, Big Ten schools are out there challenging themselves, and they're playing 9 conference games, and maybe there's a 9-3 team who's sitting in the 17-20 range or something like that. That's probably just as good as a SEC 10-2 team, but has one more loss because of the fact that they play one more conference game and they're challenging themselves in the non-con and stuff like that. The SEC has come to this realization, it feels. They've said, oh, that's an option? We should just continue to do that. Why would we why would we challenge ourselves? So the SEC seems to be throwing its support behind that now. So I think the bigger story, and a lot has been written about this over the last couple of days now, is that the SEC and the Big Ten are not really handshake memeing anymore. And so I want to stop there. That has to be a good thing for college football, right? I don't want the two evil empires working with each other to rig the college football playoff, right?
Right.
At the same time, people in our listening audience, they're quote-unquote Big Ten fans. They're at least fans of a team in the Big Ten, probably, right? So you're probably thinking, well, I want what's best for Nebraska. How do we get Nebraska into the college football playoff?
Yeah, Connor.
Well, those might be conflicting. Those ideas might conflict against each other.
Oh no.
Right? Because
yeah,
the chances that Nebraska is a top 4 team in the Big Ten are probably a little bit greater than them being like a top 15 team in the country. If you math that out.
That's right.
I think
number 1 in our hearts.
I think that's right. So the SEC and the Big Ten have sort of they've sort of split off here a little bit, and they're not in agreement anymore on how this should work. I hope they don't agree on things, to be honest with you. I don't think that's a bad thing for the sport. Both sides think the other is trying to rig it in their favor. The Big Ten obviously wants the SEC to play 9 conference games and join them on this boat. And if they did so, they would. But nobody is compelling them to do so.
Right.
So they're like, well, we can keep things the way we have it. And the data shows we can get more than 4 automatically into the college football playoff. And if you're capped at 5, then you're capped at 5. In the way that the SEC wants to do it, which is 5 plus 11, you're not capped anywhere. You can have as many teams as you want in the college football playoff, as many teams that get discovered by the committee that are good enough to make the college football playoff. So the SEC knows that they can get 1 billion teams into the playoff with an open format. And so I don't think this is really about what the format is anymore. And it's more about the idea that the SEC and the Big Ten are both attempting to shape the college football play. So once again, we're talking about the new college football playoff contract for 2026. We're not talking about this year. They both want to shape it the way that they want to shape it. And now they don't agree, which is sort of fascinating. So I've read a lot on this over the last couple of days here, just kind of trying to get caught back up. And this is from an athletic story that I was reading by Ralph Russo this morning. This, yes, the other FBS conferences contractually have the right to provide meaningful input, but the room where the next CFP format will be decided only needs 2 chairs, one for Sankey and one for his Big Ten counterpart, Tony Petitti, aka the Petitti Man. The SEC and the Big Ten were tired of operating in a structure that required consensus from all 11 stakeholders in the college football playoff. The new contract that kicks in next year gives the SEC and Big Ten power to do what they think is best. Yet still, the CFP talks have hit a bump, stemming directly from the SEC's interminable internal debate over whether to continue to play 8 games or move to 9, which would match the number played by the Big Ten. After the SEC spent last week making headlines, pounding its chest at the annual spring meetings, decision makers in the Big Ten were left wondering whether the 2 leagues can agree on a model for determining college football's champions. One incredulous Big Ten athletic director, granted anonymity, candidly to address the state of these discussions, told The Athletic late last week, quote, "We thought we were on the same page. What was that?"
Oh, no.
The Big Ten's preference is clear and has been for a while. The field should be primarily made up of AQs, determined by conference standings and play-in games. Whether that field includes 14 or 16 teams, which is the new front runner, doesn't actually seem to matter that much. Administrators of Big Ten country believed SEC was on board. Twice in the last 9 months, the Big Ten and the SEC leaders have held joint meetings. Sankey and Petitti, by all accounts, have a good relationship. They're supposed to be on the same page, leading college sports from their perches atop it, but not so fast. The SEC decided, I think we can get everything we want and more. I think we can have our cake and eat it too if we continue to only play our 8 conference games. Basically, as you guys have been expecting for a long time, this is at the center of all of it. The SEC's refusal to play 9 conference games. And apparently they have decided that it would be more worth their while from a monetary standpoint, because that's what have you ever heard that college football is all about money, Josh?
I've heard rumblings.
There's something about that, and there's probably some truth to that, right? You know, I think there's probably a little bit of truth to that. They must have decided at some point that it's worth it. It's monetarily more worth it for them to get more teams into the playoff than to tell our television network, hey, we have an extra inventory of whatever, 12, 5, 7 more SEC games that we could sell to you and that you could broadcast on television, and then we'll get on board with everybody else. They want to sort of, they are believing in the old school ways of college football, which is sort of like the Wild Wild West, right? The Big Ten wants uniformity. They want direct ties, direct ways to get into the college football playoff now. And I guess they're philosophical differences at this point, right? Like I said, the SEC wants to keep its ability to do whatever it wants at any time. That flexibility that they have with their 8-game conference schedule gives them that. The Big Ten says, why don't we just take the 4 teams that get in every single time, and we don't have to worry about anything else if we're talking about making a playoff. Now, there's a couple different ways that you could evaluate this. Do you want we talked about this yesterday with the baseball playoff and the basketball playoff, the tournament on both sides. Those tournaments are great, right? And you kind of know what you have to do to get into those tournaments, but you also have way more teams that make those tournaments. You have a committee, you have a selection process that gets those teams in. So the future of college football, they have to decide, and now this is where the other conferences will come into play. And I would imagine they would side with the SEC because the narrative on the Big Ten is that they want to rig it in their favor, right? They want to put 4 teams in automatically. I agree with that's stupid, but you have reached now this point where you're either rooting for the SEC to continue to get what it wants, or if you're rooting for the Big Ten, you're kind of siding with the dark side, Josh. You're kind of siding with the well, yeah, of course I want to rig it in my favor. So is it blasphemous to say, and I said this before, when we talked about this a couple weeks ago, like, I think the 5+11 thing is good. I like that. But obviously the SEC is going to take full advantage of it if and when that is put into place, because they only play 8 games in conference, and they're going to try and stack up all the teams they possibly can to get, and ultimately this all plays out in the field, but the odds are in their favor because of what their schedule looks like.
Don't you care about units, Connor?
So, but I'm kind of rooting for the SEC. I'm kind of rooting for the SEC to win here. Where does this put me? I obviously prefer the Big Ten over the SEC, but I like the SEC's idea better, or the idea that they're supporting better. Anyway,
Playing the Citadel is important.
I hate the Big Ten's idea.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
I hate the Big Ten's idea. This was all Jim Delaney a number of years ago, putting that 9th game in there and saying, well, it's been proven over and over again that they'll take the best teams for the playoff, and that is not proven to be true. Jim Delaney was wrong.
Whoa.
Jim Delaney was wrong. God bless Jim Delaney. We love Jim Delaney. As we would say during COVID when Kevin Warren was the commissioner, Jim Delaney would never. But he was wrong. He was wrong about the teams that get into the college football playoff. The teams that get into the college football playoff are the teams that have the path of least resistance. Mm-hmm. That's, of course, with the exception of Florida State when they went undefeated that year, but they lost their quarterback to a horrific.
They would have lost, Connor.
They would have lost. They would have lost. So where do I stand, Josh? Am I SEC pilled? All of a sudden, I have one weekend in Fayetteville, and now I love the SEC.
Interesting how that works.
Maybe.
Comment from Mitchell on Twitter.
Hi, Mitchell on Twitter.
Easy compromise. If the SEC does not want to play 9 conference games, make the minimum requirement for the playoffs 10 Power 5 games.
Yeah, but who's in charge of this?
Great question. The NCAA?
No, God, no. Absolutely not. It's the power
Who's
conference.
making the rules?
The Big Ten and the SEC. Yeah. So if you're sick of these debates, if you're like, oh my God, can you please guys just figure this out and give me a playoff? We are not anywhere closer to that than we were a couple weeks ago on this issue.
I really need us to be closer to
We're
the
not
end of this conversation.
We are not. We are further away.
Damn it.
Because the SEC is diverted.
I was afraid of that.
And they've said, nope, we're going to keep playing our 8 games. And we think we could get more than 4 in every year. We know we're going to get 4. Why would we just take our 4 and go home when we can have 7 teams in the college football playoff? And they're all going to have really good records. And if it comes down to a 10-2 Ole Miss versus a 9-3 Iowa, but Iowa's extra losses to Ohio State, guess which team they're picking? Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
That's exactly correct, Josh.
Sorry, Hawkeye fans.
Yeah. They just are. So maybe I'm an SEC honk. Maybe I'm an SEC honk at this moment.
You've changed, man.
The Big Ten's out on an island on this thing. And I don't know. I don't see a path. I don't see this solution coming anytime soon unless somebody changes course again. Chris writes in.
Hi, Chris.
On the text line. Poll question: is Connor an SEC honk guy?
Whoa.
If you're asking me to pick sides, I'm picking the SEC.
Honk.
That's because ultimately when it comes down for me as a fan, I think that's the better selection process to a college football playoff.
For the greater good.
But the SEC knows that they're going to have all those teams that are in position to make the playoff, and they're going to stack it full with their teams either way.
Don't you want our beautiful baby boy Dylon to make the college football playoff?
Yes.
Guaranteed.
No, I want him to earn it. Isn't that how parenting works, Josh?
I'd rather just hand my child the solution to their problems.
Really? All right, kid, take this YouTube and go away.
Let me figure it out for you.
So that's where we're at right now. There's been a lot written about this over the last couple days here.
Will there be more written about it?
The Big Ten? Oh yeah. Well, so I think probably what's next year, and remember, the Big Ten doesn't say jack. They don't say anything.
Very tight-lipped.
Tony Petitti is not going to come out of whatever meeting he's going to come out of and go on camera and say, listen to me and listen. Although he should do this. Listen to me and listen to me closely. SEC, play 9 games. You coward.
Ooh.
That's what he should do. But he's not going to do that. This was last week, right? The SEC came out there with their whole brochure.
Yeah.
And they were like, here's all these things.
Whenever anyone asks you anything about this, please refer to this chart.
Go to the brochure.
Mm-hmm.
We have laid this all out for you. They love honking themselves. The Big Ten probably needs to start honking itself in order to in order to effectively explain why this is a good idea. Because if not, the SEC is controlling the narrative and everybody out there thinks you're trying to rig the playoff in your favor. And that's not the narrative that the Big Ten wants to have. They have reasons why. Like they have reasons why they want the playoff to be the way they want it to be. The Big Ten does.
Right.
But they need to effectively explain it because right now they are losing the PR battle with all the other conferences and with the public.
Do you think they will stay silent on this for the next 6 weeks until media days in Vegas?
Probably. But they have to figure, I don't know if there's a deadline on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have to figure out a next playoff. Hopefully before this playoff.
I mean, logically, someone will ask Tony this type of a question.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like, a lot of them.
If it isn't the first question, I'd be shocked.
So Ralph Russo wrote this on The Athletic. The next meeting for the full 11-member CFP management committee is scheduled for mid-June. The Power 4 commissioners speak routinely amongst themselves and held their latest call earlier this week with rethinking the selection process at the heart of the conversation. They all can stake claim to feeling at times that it hasn't worked in their favor. See unbeaten Florida State in 2023 when the ACC got left out. More importantly, though, Sankey and Petitti need to connect and sort out where things stand within their constituents. Both seem to understand that after emphasizing the need for their leagues to have more power, autonomy, and alignment, failing to agree on the one item they truly control would be frankly a little embarrassing. The room is all yours, gentlemen. Time to figure it out. This is where things stand right now. You're fighting a PR battle against the conference that loves itself more than, I don't know, breathing air. They love themselves. Although it was funny being in Arkansas over the weekend when Vanderbilt and Texas got eliminated from the tournament. The Arkansas fans were very, very happy about that. So,
because that was
within there, they'll eat each other alive.
Yeah.
But if anybody else tries to come at them, no. Not my brothers.
That's exactly what it is. It's I can pick on him. He's my brother. You can't. You're not in our family.
Corey says, I'm for the SEC version as long as the SEC and the Big Ten play the same amount of conference games, 8 or 9. Well, the Big Ten's not going back down to 8. I'll tell you that much. Fox would murder them.
Yeah.
It's not happening. NBC would get even less big games than they already do, which is none.
Well, they got that one.
they got the one. So I don't know, man. Fascinating to see where this turns out. But the Big Ten is fighting a losing PR battle at the moment with what they want to do going forward.
Sad.
If they would have been together on this, if they would have been together on the whole 4-4 automatic qualifier thing, it would have been through already because they control all the power.
Lockstep, finalized.
They control all the power, but the SEC was like, actually, I think I kind of like the old way.
Big idea Commissioner Yormark would be squawking around like, hey, nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to me.
That's correct. Big idea Commissioner, man. You're the commissioner of the Big 12. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you have no say. All right. Now he's got an ally. Now he's got somebody on his side, and it's like the most important guy.
Oh.
It's Greg Sankey. All right, let's take a break. Let's get off this playoff thing because I know it's mind numbing for some people, including Josh. Josh is like, "What's going on?"
Whoa, no.
Snack wraps. Are you interested? I have a theory on snack wraps.
I'm interested in your theory on snack wraps.
Next on 1620 The Zone. Josh,
Connor,
McDonald's did a tweet yesterday.
Okay.
It just said snack wrap 7/10/25. I got 13,000 retweets. 13,000. By the way, there was a follow-up from McDonald's, and I don't know that I want to read it in full because it's very long.
It's very long, yes.
But it says this. I don't usually do this, and I didn't run this by Brian from Legal. Sorry, Brian. But I have something to say, not as McDonald's, but as the person behind the McDonald's account. I once posted, social media managers don't control the menu. As much as I hated admitting that at the time, it's true. I even got a plaque made of it to put on my desk. I don't control the Bitcoin price, even though you think the McRib is responsible, but I digress. This is McDonald's tweeting, by the way. Yes, I could post about the snack wrap, tease you with tweets like bring back blank blank, knowing exactly what you say, and even manifest for its return, but I couldn't bring it back. You know who I could bring it back? You know who I could bring it back?
Well written.
You commented under every post. You made petitions. You asked for it to be back in the drive-thru. You tweeted every day for 100 days straight. You rallied. You organized. I saw it all. Thanks to you, the snack wrap will be back. And then it keeps going. But basically, this is a very emotional post from McDonald's on how the return of the snack wrap came to be. We're talking about the snack wrap, Josh. The snack wrap.
A chicken strip wrapped in a taco shell with lettuce and cheese. There's probably some sauce in there. Very simple, very inexpensive menu item.
So the snack wrap debuted in 2006. This is not a 90s thing, right? Everything that comes back nowadays is like, oh, well, it was gone for a long time and now it's back. So I don't know. I guess I don't talk about this with very many people on a regular basis. But I didn't hear a real clamoring for do you remember the snack wrap? We need to bring back the snack wrap. It was so good. I loved the snack wrap. Now, if they took away the McChicken for 20 years, I would be incredulous.
Mm-hmm.
I would be incredibly angry about this, and I might tweet at McDonald's every day and I said, bring back the McChicken. What's wrong with you? Everybody loved the McChicken. The snack wrap was just there, and it was discontinued in 2016 because nobody ate it.
That's right.
Nobody ate the snack wrap, Josh. And here, back comes the snack wrap. So I have a question for you, America.
Okay.
Was the snack wrap really good? Or is McDonald's just capitalizing off of America's recent obsession with nostalgia?
Connor, the snack wrap is backyard baseball.
Nice.
You don't actually care that they're bringing it back.
You're not playing backyard baseball. You're an adult.
Yep. It just gives you warm and fuzzies about yesteryear.
Exactly.
About your memories of the snack wrap, of hanging with your friends and eating a snack wrap.
You might go to McDonald's when the snack wrap comes back on July 10th, and you might tell the drive-thru person at McDonald's, I would like a snack wrap.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be it.
And
then you'll say, wow, that was average at best.
Mm-hmm. Or,
and then you'll never order a snack wrap again.
Like many of us here locally, I know this isn't a national or a global thing, but like Runza has a snack wrap equivalent and has for years.
And guess what? People don't eat it.
Yeah.
People don't eat it. Now, if Runza took it away and then brought it back after like 2 weeks and said, our version of the snack wrap, whatever it's called, is back, people will be like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is the key to everything. Take it away for 10 seconds.
Stibbs in the YouTube. I bought backyard baseball for $5 on my phone and have played it once. I'm being called out.
You are.
And I eat the Runza wrap.
Now, I'm all for nostalgia. But I just want people to see this for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need the snack wrap. You probably didn't even remember that it was gone. But then when you saw the McDonald's post yesterday and said the snack wrap is back, it was like, oh wow, I remember ordering a snack wrap in 2008. Guess what? Whatever it cost in 2008, it's not going to be what it costs now.
That's right, Connor.
Now, what was the KFC? What was the KFC? The chicken?
Oh,
the little
Chicken Lil, I think.
No. The little just what were they called? They had all the different flavors. It was basically just a chicken tender on like a slider bun.
I know what you're talking about.
Whatever those were.
Whatever it was called.
Now, if they brought those back, I'd be. No, those were good, and I actually ordered those all the time. But this is the key to everything, Josh. So, what do we do on this show that we could take away for a little while and then bring back?
Oh, and then people.
I mean, we do this every year with like football,
right?
So, and then people do get excited for football being back. But
are we kind of doing that with Grunt the Slate?
Yeah, Grunt the Slate is back. I mean, people will. We'll have a parade when Grunt the Slate comes back.
It doesn't have to be seasonal, but it's a better thing if it is seasonal. It's our McRib.
Yeah. Poll question.
Is Grunt the Slate our McRib?
Is Grunt the Slate our McRib? All right, so I got a couple things here on the text line. From Chris, poll question: are you excited for the return of the snack wrap? Sure, we could put that out there.
Maybe we're wrong.
Jeff writes in, I've never understood the love for the snack wrap, but I've seen people wanting them to bring it back. Apparently McDonald's has heard this a lot over the last 10 years.
But they did not run it by Bob and legal or whatever.
No, of course they didn't.
I'll bet they didn't. I'll bet someone went rogue on McDonald's Twitter account.
They totally didn't. Yes. Text from the 402. I really like the Big Mac snack wrap. Apparently they had a Big Mac snack wrap. Sorry. Yeah, close. Saying something different there. Greg and Hastings, you don't need the snack wrap. The snack wrap needs you. And thank you, Nick, for sending in the thing that I was looking for. The KFC Snackers.
Okay.
The KFC Snackers. Now, those little things were awesome.
Those were delicious.
I don't know where even I could find a KFC these days, but I would probably go up to because I haven't been
just east of 90th and
there you go, Maple.
Yeah.
I haven't been through a KFC in a very long time, but I would go up there and I'll be like, do you guys still have the Snackers? And they'd be like, no, we got rid of those in 2015.
What are you doing, you old man?
Well, could you like make me one? And they'd be like, no, probably not.
Their menu is so large right now.
Yeah. Well, they're also combined with like 40 other restaurants when they do that too. Flaky Jake writes in.
Flaky Jake
on Twitter. We did it. We brought back the snack wrap so we could do anything. Bring on the aliens. We will defeat them in battle.
And the side tangent on this whole, we complained, so they brought the snack wrap.
That's not why they brought it back.
It empowers people to, like, if I'm just belligerent enough on the internet, I can get whatever I want.
Yeah.
If I yell at the little Asian girl because she was in a Star Wars movie, they'll stop putting minorities in Star Wars movies. No, they
didn't do that.
They didn't do that. They won't do that.
They're going to keep putting more minorities in Star Wars movies.
Like, maybe that wasn't the best example, but it was the one that was the top of mind.
You got it.
Toxicity in fan bases is ruining a lot.
But they think that they think that it's working.
You think you can affect real change in the world. You cannot.
Maybe, I don't know, Josh. There might be some truth to that. Like, if that one guy wasn't belligerently tweeting at McDonald's for the last 10 years about the snack wrap, do you think it would have been back?
This is not the Caitlin Clark thing, but she did tweet 3 years ago to bring back the snack wrap.
But maybe they're right, though. Maybe you can affect real change. Not the kind where they're going to put less minorities in Star Wars, probably. But I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to it. You could just say things and then maybe they'll happen.
No, I don't like that.
I don't know. I'm not sure. People have been clamoring for Creighton to bring back power.
They have.
People have been clamoring for it. Will they do it? I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not. If Kanye keeps saying bad things on the internet, they're probably not going to do it. But I don't know.
But if he dives in front of a bus and saves like a bunch of children,
then power would probably be back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would be the #1 song in the country if that happened.
I don't think that's true.
If
there's like 5,000 Creighton basketball fans.
But if that specific thing happened, he dove in front of a bus to save like a school group of children.
Yeah, then power would be back. Power would be officially back. From YouTube, Mike is wondering if we could grunt the College World Series slate.
Excellent usage of grunt the slate.
Well, when was the last time we did it?
For the NFL schedule release social media videos.
We forced that one. I needed a segment.
Well, the people kept tweeting us. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Mike Stibbs writes in.
Hi, Stibbs.
People have been clamoring for Kevin and Michael to come back to Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
The show is better then.
The show is better then. Will the Zone bring them back?
Trust me, I've asked.
If you keep saying it, then maybe one day the hope stays alive, right?
Yeah.
But if you give up hope, then no, there's no chance of Kevin and Michael coming back.
I texted Kevin Kugler on Friday, November 15th. He has not texted me back.
Will you come back and host? Did you ask him if he will come back and permanently host Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone?
I thanked him for doing a 25th anniversary interview.
Yes.
And he did not respond.
I'm sure he was appreciative.
I'm sure he said, "Whose number is this?
Probably.
Who's texting?"
Did you identify yourself?
I think I did, actually.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe he's listening right now and he'll text that number back or something like that. But you should have asked, Kevin, will you come back and host Unsportsmanlike Conduct permanently?
Permanently. Not one of those bits where it's like, hey, it's 90s day. We're bringing it back.
Well,
not for one day.
I mean, that's basically what the snack wrap is going to be. The snack wrap will be back for a week. And then they'll realize, oh my God, nobody's buying this.
We're throwing out 11,000 chicken strips every single day. We can't keep going at this rate. We have to discontinue it.
So I don't know. Maybe it does speak to the power of people being mad, people being mad on the internet. Maybe you got what you wanted. You get your snack wraps back. But once again, I don't think you actually like them. I just think you're nostalgic. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just want to when you eat that first snack wrap, when you order that first snack wrap, I want you to think of me while you're biting into that first snack wrap. I want you to think, oh my God, Connor was right. I don't actually think this is that good. Why did I want this back for the last 10 years? Why did I tweet every day at McDonald's?
Thursday, July 10th. It's going to be like the biggest thing in the world. And by Monday, July 14th, everyone will have forgotten that the snack wrap is back.
Stibbs writes in, Connor may be right, but you're going to get one, right? Maybe. If it's convenient.
Depends on if they have buffalo sauce on it.
If it's convenient. No, I will definitely not get it if there's buffalo sauce on it.
You won't.
Jason tweets in, what I'm hearing is be more mad online.
No, be less mad online. It's not the way to get what you want.
Well, I don't know. It worked. They got the snack wrap back.
I don't think that's an A, B, C path there.
It had some sort of impact. Joel writes in.
Hi, Joel.
Bold of Connor to assume I don't always think of him when I bite into a snack wrap.
Interesting.
But the new one specifically.
I mean, do you think that this could be just a way to get everyone to shut up?
Could be.
Like, hey, we're trying to figure out like real things in our social media algorithm, but every time we sift through our tweets, our mentions, it's just snack wrap stuff. We'll bring it back just to shut y'all up.
Text to the 402.
Hi, 402.
You only want what you can't have. That's true. And
That
right
is
now,
true.
you can't have the snack wrap. Not for another month anyway. Greg points me to his nearest KFC. There's apparently a KFC on South Burlington and Hastings. Yes, I know about that one. There's a McDonald's on it too. Right on all the way on the end, all the way when you get up against 281 there.
Burlington
Or no,
Poppin'?
not 281, 6, Highway 6.
Dodge Street.
No. Well, way west Dodge Street. Way west Dodge Street. Don't worry, Greg. I know Hastings. All right. We got the odd news next on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host's last statement was deemed to be somewhat comical. Somewhat. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Defending your rights takes experience. At the Sedora Law Group, that experience spans 3 generations. Whether it's a misdemeanor, felony, or DUI, we bring the same structure trusted by local and national clients: courtroom preparation, sentencing insight, and real legal strategy. Schedule a consultation with your defense team today. Visit SedoraLaw.com. That's SODORO Law.com. Or call 402-504-9346. When your family, freedom, or finances are on the line, your outcome depends on what you do next. Visit SedoraLaw.com.
Why do people think the best fishing trips are just stories? It was this big, they say. Well, at Ballard's, we make legends come true. This September, hop on a deluxe motor coach to Lake of the Woods. 4 nights, 3 days of guided walleye fishing, and all meals included. Fresh, wild, walleye, the lake, and you. Head to ballardsresort.com to book your September walleye.
Josh, this is the odd news.
That's right, Connor. Oh, yeah. We got an intro for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We should probably play that.
Okay. Let's see.
Let's try that on.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, The Odd News with Odd Son. Odd News, Odd Son. See what we did there? The Odd News with Oddson.
Mike Stibbs writes in.
Hi, Stibbs.
LOL, that wasn't the odd news? That's right. It wasn't.
It's the biggest story in our country right now.
So if we combine the 15 minutes on the snack wrap, the 10 minutes here in the odd news, and then the 20 upcoming minutes on the I have an opinion thing, we're gonna be really productive during this hour.
Hell yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Connor.
Wednesday, June 4th, baby.
Yeah, it's June radio here on the zone.
June.
This is June. We begin in Bangkok.
Nice.
A hungry elephant caused havoc in a grocery store in Thailand on Monday when he strolled in from a nearby park and helped himself to the food on the shelves. Videos of the incident showed the huge male elephant briefly stopping in front of the shop, located just off of a main road, before ducking his whole body inside. The elephant stopped in front of the shop's counter, calmly snatching and chomping snacks, and did not flinch as the national park workers tried to shoo him away.
Oh, it was taunting.
Yeah. The elephant later backed out of the shop, still holding a bag of snacks with his trunk. He left little damage behind, the biggest being mud tracks on the floor.
That's not illegal, though.
I don't think so.
It's not illegal to track mud into a store. It's not preferred.
Right.
They might get some weird looks, but he's an elephant.
Mm-hmm. Just got elephants walking around, man.
It's a good lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like elephants are kind of nice.
There were an estimated 4,000 wild elephants in Thailand in 2024.
Wow. Really?
Feels like a lot.
So they're out there just walking around?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
If I happened upon an elephant in the wild like that, I would not.
How many thousand elephant? 4,000 elephants.
I would think it.
So it's not quite like deer here,
right?
You know, like, but I don't know what the equivalent would be.
How many deer are there?
I mean, there's a lot more than 4,000 deer. There's a lot more than 4,000 just roaming around.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's totally different. I don't know. I kind of want to go to a different part of the world just to see like what's normal there. You know?
Yeah, like,
were people like looking at this elephant like, oh my God, this is crazy? Or did they just go about their day after the elephant came in and stole a bag of chips?
Pretty calm.
Wow.
There are an estimated 30 to 35 million deer in the United States.
Yeah, that's more than 4,000.
It is.
All right.
It is.
Okay.
You didn't even say that the numbers were comparable.
Just wanted to check. Thank you for checking.
Know. Yeah. We go to Texas. A Texas man was arrested twice in Lyon County over the Memorial Day weekend. Sheriff deputies were called about an allegedly intoxicated person at a business on Sunday. According to the report, 42-year-old Richard Prunetta made alarming statements to an employee after driving himself to the business. Police met up with Richard and charged him with DUI and impounded his vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Memorial Day, after bonding out of jail, he told the sheriff's office, "Hey, I got to get some stuff out of my impounded vehicle. Is that cool?" They let him go to the vehicle
and then stole the car.
Where he got his cocaine out of the vehicle.
Okay.
And the police said, hey, hold on a minute here.
Well, they probably figured he probably figured they're going to find that cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better off. It's better off to have it on my person. You know, maybe they won't find it on me.
I've got a better chance of getting out of here with the cocaine than if I just leave it in my car and they clean the vehicle out later, right?
Yeah, because it's going to get thrown away at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Impounded in some way.
I guess I get the thought process, but
like, do you think he was trying to get the cocaine back, or do you think he was trying to make sure that nobody found the cocaine?
I mean, he had just spent a weekend in jail. I'm going to guess he probably really wanted the cocaine.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But it does serve two purposes, right?
Yeah, maybe. Just depending on circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally, we go to the Czech Republic, where an 88-year-old woman was declared dead, put into a coffin.
I hate these stories.
Yeah, this happens not a lot, but
it comes up in the odd news like twice a year.
Yeah, 88-year-old woman thought to be deceased. The husband told the medical crews she didn't move, she didn't breathe. Paramedics checked her, ruled her to be deceased because she was 88 years old after all. Then
just because she's 88 doesn't mean she's dead. Jeez.
If I check for a pulse and don't find one on an 88-year-old woman, that's probably the end of my research.
Really? You're not going to try and save her?
I'm not putting like a slide under her nose to make sure that she's fogging up the glass.
Oh, come
or anything
on.
Like
she's still got life to live, Josh.
The workers transferred her to a coffin, and when they were in I don't know how they do things in the Czech Republic, but the sentence is as follows. When they were right there in the apartment, in the hallway by the door, they found out she was alive. The ambulance arrived shortly after and transported the woman to the hospital.
So this happened in Lincoln, and then
that's right.
The person, like they were basically dead, but they weren't dead, and then eventually died. After they transported the person to the hospital,
it became a national news story that they quote unquote messed up, and then the next day the person passed. It's called the Lazarus effect, named after the biblical story of young Jesus raising Lazarus back from the dead.
So this is one of those cases the woman did end up actually dying, or inconclusive on that.
Inconclusive.
Interesting. We'll follow this one then.
Yeah,
we'll keep an eye on.
Got to watch her. She's 88.
You never know. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. We continue on with the shenanigans. There was somebody who mentioned Super Troopers in the chat there. Shenanigans. I have an opinion. Please send in your opinions. And if Josh Odson deems your opinion to be good, then you might go home with $50 to Backlot Tap House.
Backlot Tap House.
And there might be more than one.
Probably.
So send those in at Happer Show or on the text line or on YouTube. Back after this with I Have an Opinion on 1620 The Zone.
pineapple.
This is the I Have an Opinion song. Haven't done an intro yet. Need to get on that.
Yeah. All right, Josh.
Connor.
People have opinions of all shapes and sizes from all across the world. And I haven't participated in this segment in several years.
That's right.
So I'm looking forward to what opinions people might have. So without further ado,
have you brought any to the table?
I got some emails.
Oh, okay.
I got some emails that we could do.
I didn't know if you, Connor Happer, had brought your own personal opinions too.
Well, I mean, I have opinions.
Okay.
I did not. I mean, really, this whole show should probably be called like I Have an Opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some opinions. I relayed my opinion earlier on snack wraps. So
that's true.
That counts.
Mm-hmm.
That counts.
Oh, definitely.
So let's do it. What do we got?
Let's start on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed with Declan. I have an opinion. Elderly people have been getting away with being a-holes for far too long.
Whoa. What do you mean? I needed specific examples, Declan. Most of the elderly people that I meet are very nice and humble. I don't think this is true. Elderly people?
Wow.
Elderly? The elderly are being mean?
There are some mean elderly people.
Yeah, but they're elderly people. What are they, what are they going to do?
I'm leaning more towards Declan than you.
Really?
Yeah.
You also think elderly people are mean, Josh?
Some are.
I need specific examples on this. You guys have problems with authority, all right? Listen to your elders. They know what they're talking about. They've been around for a long time.
You don't get to tell me what to do just because you survive.
Yeah, but
that's not enough of a resume.
Experience. How often do we talk about experience in the playoffs and stuff like that? Right? That matters. You're going to listen to those people. I'm more likely to trust Nikola Jokic now that he has been through many playoffs and won a championship. I just am.
If you made the playoffs 60 years in a row and didn't win anything, we'd stop listening to you.
Who would you trust more talking about their playoff experience and how it's different? Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid?
Nikola Jokic.
Exactly. He's more experienced.
Uh-huh.
I trust him.
Who would you listen about the right way to play football in today's day and age?
Brett Favre or Mark Gastineau?
Why are those my two options?
I don't know. Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I'd walk away. No, those are better.
Brett Favre or like a young guy
or Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I would probably trust Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm. What?
I would probably trust Brett Favre.
You would trust Brett Favre.
Brett Favre won a Super Bowl, Josh.
He also did many other things that, in my opinion, negated the Super Bowl.
I trust Brett Favre. Do all the things that Brett Favre did.
Your pride and joy, Josh Allen.
I trust Brett Favre.
Newlywed.
But it depends on what the subject is. Depends on if it is
how to play quarterback today.
If it is how to be a loving and good husband, spouse, probably Josh Allen.
That's right.
Probably Josh Allen, even though he's new at it.
If Haley Steinfeld got breast cancer, Josh Allen would never step out on her. Allegedly.
There's the other stuff too.
I don't know if I have to say allegedly.
I don't know. Stibbs writes in, the only human since 2010 to say, I trust Brett Favre. We were talking about playoff experience, okay? Playoff experience. Not other subjects.
Not money management.
I want to say that I trust the elderly, okay? I trust the elderly. Not implicitly. It's dependent on the situation.
Okay.
But I don't know where this whole old people are mean thing comes from. I need specific examples.
That old lady from The Wedding Singer.
The old lady from The Wedding Singer.
She was pretty bossy.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw that movie.
You didn't see The Wedding Singer?
I saw this.
That's right up your alley.
I saw the scenes. They were. I don't know.
I saw the scenes.
I saw the better Adam Sandler Drew Barrymore movie.
Oh,
51st Dates.
Everybody, come get this man.
I'm back.
I'm back. I trust Brett Favre and 51st Dates greater than The Wedding Singer.
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Wow.
And I have opinions.
Wow.
All right. What else do we got? I just am trying to support old people. Okay?
I got a couple emails here.
All right.
Charles has an opinion.
Hi, Charles.
I have an opinion. Movie sequels don't need a fancy title. Just give me the number of the movie. For example, the first 2 sequels for Mission Impossible were Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 3. That tells me everything I need to know. I don't want to have to Google the order of the movies when I go to rewatch them. Jurassic World Dominion, Jurassic World Rebirth. Who needs that crap?
God,
Charlie
is hard to argue with. This is hard to argue with. I am thinking about throwing my full support behind this email. But I mean, with the other Jurassic, because it's not Jurassic Park 4 or whatever, right? Or 6 or whatever movie it is. It's like a different Jurassic Park.
Jurassic World and Jurassic Park are different trilogies, different franchises.
So when they did the Christian Bale trilogy of the Batman movies, it goes Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises.
That's right.
Right? It's not Batman 1, 2, and 3.
Correct.
But yet everybody remembers that Dark Knight Rises is the second out of, or Dark Knight Rises is the third out of the 3, and Dark Knight is the second out of the 3.
Yeah, if you're
maybe people don't know that there was actually a movie in the trilogy before Dark Knight.
If your movie is good enough, people will remember if it's the first, second, or third one.
Yeah.
But
I remember Hangover 2 because it was the bad one.
Right.
Hangover 3 was pretty bad.
That, right?
Hangover 3 was pretty bad, but not nearly as bad as Hangover 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Hangover 1 was the best. I like this.
Although I hate the phrase, I do cautiously subscribe to
cautiously subscribing
what Charles is saying. Chris, I have an opinion.
All right.
Email greetings need to go. I received a work email stating, quote, I hope this email finds you well. If it didn't find me well, I wouldn't be reading it. Just get to the point and state why you are sending the email.
Come on.
Chris.
Pleasantries. What's wrong with the little pleasantries? It doesn't have to be that. I mean, the whole email finds you well thing, you don't have to do it. Just say hi.
Okay. I'm there.
You don't have to like immediately fire into the thing that you want to talk about. Sometimes when I'm sending an email that I feel like contains pertinent information, I will do the whole pleasantry thing and, kind of get started. And then I will bold the things that actually matter. I will put in bold the things that actually matter, the dates and the times and the changes and whatever it might be. I will put those things in bold. So your eyes are immediately drawn to those things. And if you're looking back to reference the email, you could tell, okay, this is what I'm supposed to take from this email. The other stuff is just fluff, but I don't mind the fluff. Flip it up a little bit. I like an email to look good.
Stibbs says, I'm offended at times when someone messages me with just a request. Butter me up a little.
Yeah, I want it to look good. I think people should take. I think people should actually. I would go exactly the opposite here. I think people should take more pride in the way their emails look. Like, give me a good signature.
Platcat says, I've punted on greetings and signatures on emails. You see who the email is from. You don't need my name again at the bottom.
Nah, fluff it up.
Kevin with a very dangerous opinion. I have an opinion. I like all the Hangover movies. I can't trust you, Kevin.
Even number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2 was bad.
It was a number 2.
It was bad.
Sam, friend of the show.
Yeah. Hey, Sam.
Says, you guys wouldn't want the Connor Happer show to be called the Nick Boss Show 3 with Connor Happer.
That would be great for us.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great for us.
I would love to use Nick Boss clout to improve this show.
Yes.
100%.
We would have to go through Nick to get the support for that.
Yeah, it's probably some legalities, probably a kickback or two financially.
If we could somehow make people think that Nick Bahe was on this show, I think it would help us tremendously.
Everybody's a little nervous.
Yeah, I think it would help us tremendously. That'd be really good. That'd be good for us. So I don't know that Sam. I actually disagree with that. I would want this show to be called the Nick Bahe Show 3. Actually, back to the emails.
Yeah.
Here's John.
Hi, John.
I have an opinion. Going a week without hearing anything from Big Fat Mouth has been great. It needs to continue for several more. I believe John is referring to Matt Rule as Big Fat Mouth.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was talking about you.
No, I don't think so.
Because you haven't been here in about a week.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he was talking about me, but he's referred to Matt Rule as Big Fat Mouth before.
Oh, okay.
So, TC writes in.
Hi, TC.
This is from the Equitable Bank inbox. And TC likes to email in all caps and things like, while Josh looks for Nick Bahe drops to play on the radio. This is good. Got anything cooking in there, Josh? Okay. All right. TC, I don't believe that Wake Forest head baseball coach Tom Walter will be asked to speak at any Pride Month activities. LOL. Peace, TC.
That seems like a fact.
I actually think, but what if they have him do it? What if they have him
public service, as charity work?
Yeah. Like it's contrition. Like I've learned my lesson, and I am, like I need to do this. He needs to connect. I mean, just like, can I say this? And obviously, don't say what he said, but
careful.
Do not say what Tom Walter said. It's a bad thing to say. But can we just talk about how horrible of timing that was for the camera to pan to him while he was saying what he said?
I agree with you, but I'm also guessing that's not the first time he's ever said it.
Probably not. But just, really, 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 really bad timing. The camera
yes.
The camera panned to him, and immediately he said that thing, and it was very clear what he said. And that's like I feel bad in a way, but I also am like, okay, yeah, you probably can't say that. That's not good.
I believe him and Tom Brenneman will be at the parade here in Omaha in July.
They both said the same word.
They did.
That's the same bad word.
El Scorcho has an opinion.
Yeah,
I have an opinion. Referring to Thursday as Friday Eve is absolutely the dumbest thing ever.
El Scorcho. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's very close to the millennials saying, I did a thing.
I did, yeah.
Well, you know when the millennials say I did a thing?
I did a thing.
That's why the other generations make fun of us.
Praise me. I did a thing.
I did a thing. Just say what you did
today.
Just say what you did.
Imagine being an adult and only doing one thing.
No, but the thing is, like, what they're trying to do is show off, like, the thing that was really cool, but they're trying to downplay it by just saying, I did a thing. It's like, oh, I got a Presidential Medal of Freedom or something like that.
Did a thing.
Like, did a thing today.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, no, just say this was really cool. Like, we could say that. What an experience it was getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Like, that was awesome.
Big deal.
That was really, really cool. This is why we get made fun of by other generations. Be better, millennials. Don't call Thursday Friday Eve.
Oh, yeah. No, great take.
Okay. Nick follows up on El Scorcho. He says, I have an opinion. I work with El Scorcho, and he's the biggest J-sker I've ever met.
Whoa.
Is this true?
Got an inter-office feud right before our very eyes?
I got to keep the J-skers and the J's and the skers all in separate categories. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you don't know who's responsible for what. So I don't know. Sam also says, and we use GIFs. The youths flame us hard for using GIFs. We do.
I find that to be an entertaining way to express yourself.
But then people are like, why are you using that GIF? That's the obviously wrong GIF. Like maybe
you gotta use the right one.
Maybe you're Michael Severe and you use that GIF and you really weren't supposed to.
Yes. Okay. I follow. I've caught up with everyone else.
Right. Greg and Hastings.
Hi, Greg.
I have an opinion. By the way, Greg and Hastings was impressed by my Hastings knowledge.
Oh, you were dropping bombs.
I love Hastings. All my people out in Hastings.
Knowledge.
Greg and Hastings. I have an opinion. Declan needs an ass kicking from this 62-year-old. He doesn't want this smoke. Go back to your parents' basement and your video games.
Forgot what Declan said.
Declan said that old people suck.
Yeah, that's right.
Basically. All right.
I feel like 62 is not. You have not met the threshold of.
Well, I just don't know. You're not, Greg. You're not elderly.
Mm-hmm.
You're not elderly. Right. Declan was talking about elderly people, but still, I mean, I think that even makes it less likely that they're really mean. Anything on YouTube? You got opinion? What?
No, I'm still laughing about the Greg and all that.
All right. J-Man says that I have an opinion. Kobe used that word that starts with an F in the NBA game, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Yeah. He's also dead.
There's a lot of things Kobe did that.
Yep. That don't get really talked about much these days.
Right.
Don't get really talked about.
Because he just wanted to win so damn bad. We forgot all the other stuff about Kobe. Really kind of weird if you think about it.
And he died.
He did.
Mama mentality.
Tragically.
Mama mentality. Matt writes in, y'all can meet me in the parking lot to throw hands. What is up with everybody fighting?
Everyone's fighting.
Everyone wants to fight each other on this. I have an opinion. Y'all can meet me in the parking lot to throw hands. Meet me Friday Eve. I'm not calling it Thursday. What is up with you guys and not saying the word Thursday?
Everything has to be fun, and we got to jazz it up.
No, we don't. Just it is what it is. Thursday sounds cool enough.
You ready for Hot Dog Eve tomorrow?
Oh, yes, I've heard about Hot Dog Day.
Yeah,
around here on
it's
Friday.
Hot Dog Day Friday,
which is exciting because we're about to spend 10 days at the ballpark where we'll be eating hot dogs.
Hot dogs, yes,
a lot.
I do like lunch though.
I do too. I'm very supportive of this idea. I love the idea of getting the grill out and throwing some dogs on there. Why not? Old Man Doug.
Oh, hi, old man Doug.
So Old Man Doug, I think, submitted an opinion on. This may have been a day or two ago.
Oh, wow.
But also now follows up with a text. So I wanted to find the original opinion. But it was regarding Larry Bird. Did you get this email or this?
He did send us something about Larry Bird. I must have missed it and not realized it was for I have an opinion.
Yeah, there was something in it. But he followed up with a text and it says, I have an opinion. Larry Bird is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Oh, that can't be true. I watched Michael Jordan play.
Okay, I found the Old Man Doug tweet, by the way. I have an opinion. Larry Legend is the GOAT. Do not at me with recency bias. And then it was a screenshot of a Facebook post about Larry Bird from an account called Larry Legend. And it was a very interesting screenshot because it was there was two screenshots from Old Man Doug. One was of his entire page, like of the it was just the straight up screen, the raw screenshot, right? So I could see the thing that was above, and it was an ad for a Hilton spa or something like that. And then the next one was him about to crop it, but didn't quite get there, and then he screenshotted it again.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Any thoughts on Larry Bird being the best basketball player of all time?
He made 649 three-pointers.
Yeah.
We think of him as a three-point shooter, yes?
Yeah, I guess.
Steph Curry's made over 4,000.
Well, it's not just three-point shooting, Josh.
He played with that bad back for like 7 years.
It's not just three-point shooting that makes a player great.
Well, no, he had leadership capabilities. He had that sweet mustache, and he's one of the finest trash talkers this game has ever seen.
Follow up there from Stibbs. I have an opinion. If you enjoy Super 70s sports, your opinions don't matter.
I'm going to co-sign that
I love
opinion.
Larry Bird. I like Larry Bird. Larry Bird.
I like Larry Bird.
He's Larry Bird.
He's not the best basketball player of all time.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Like Bill Simmons wouldn't even say, I think Larry Bird is the best basketball player of all time.
With follow up there from Jeff. I have an opinion. You're old if you're sending screenshots of Facebook posts.
Well, I mean, it's right there in his name, Old Man Doug. We call him Old Man Doug.
But he almost cropped it.
Yeah.
He almost cropped it. And then he sent a screenshot of him cropping it.
Also, I'm going to give Old Man Doug a little pass on this because I believe he did that while he was in wine country.
Yeah, he is straight chilling now.
He was thinking of us in wine country and sending us screenshots of things while he was scrolling on his phone.
Old Man Doug follows up 2 steps. Screw you. Sorry, Doug.
I'm gonna fight Old Man Doug in the parking lot.
I didn't mean for the method in which you submitted the I have an opinion to besmirch the opinion. But it, you better be on P's and Q's when you send in that opinion. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Sam suggests you have to fight fire with fire and say Bird is just recency bias hurting Bill Russell.
Since Larry was very recent. All right. Got one from Jed.
Hi, Jed.
I have an opinion. The ability to climb down rows in Kauffman Stadium is unbelievable. Some people are like spider monkeys. Should be taught in school or something, Jed. I am scared to go up there. I don't go up there. It's too scary.
Like the nosebleeds of Kauffman?
Yeah, I assume that's what Jed's talking about. Like it's such a steep bank.
Okay.
It's such a steep angle. You could like just walk down from row to row and be fine. You don't have to do the whole thing where like you're straddling the chair or anything. You could just walk down step by step. I'm terrified to go up into the upper level.
I feel that way at CHI.
Yeah, that's a steep one.
I don't know how the 220 boys do it.
No, 220. That's why we got to appreciate them.
They're just built for it.
That's why we got to appreciate the 220 boys, the Section 220 boys. But yeah, just when I go up there, like I can't move. I'm pretty much locked into my chair. I sat there for a game last summer, and I'm like, I have to stay here and hold the railings when I go down.
Can't wander.
No, I can't because it's so steep. It's so scary.
Mm-hmm. It'll get you.
Yeah, but I don't know. I hope that's what Jed meant. By the way, somebody's been trying to call us for like 20 minutes now.
Wow.
So I wonder if
Should I pick it up?
Yeah, try and pick it up. See if it's Old Man Doug talking about Larry Bird. Let's see. Old Man Doug said he meant to say Stibbs. Screw you, Stibbs, but he just said screw you, which is fair. Greg in Hastings texts us a picture. The state bird of Indiana is Larry. Is that a good shirt? It says the state bird of Indiana is Larry.
It's not bad.
I maintain the opinion. I have an opinion. Shirts have too many words on them.
Ooh. Okay.
Shirts have too many words on it.
I'd like to hear you go down that rabbit hole a little more.
I get it. We're going for specificity in shirts these days, but like just wear a shirt that just says one thing on it, like Chick-fil-A night at Prasco Park.
That's right.
It's just a simple message.
Very simple.
It's a very simple message.
Easily identifiable.
All right, let's take a phone call opinion on the
very unorthodox
Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. This is Randy. Hi, Randy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I have an opinion. You don't want to mess around with old people because a life sentence in prison isn't very long for some of them.
Exactly, Randy. I don't want to mess with them. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. See? But that probably does feed into the idea that they're mean, which is originally Declan's point.
That would. Interesting. Hadn't thought of that.
Okay, anything else? This has been a weird I have an opinion today.
Very violent. A lot of fights. A lot of people being challenged to fights. Let me scroll through the...
Asian Joe.
Asian Joe.
Happer has a fashion opinion. The same guy who was okay with the upside-down logo hats. Still okay with them, by the way.
I just know it's not for me. Like, I think the kids and I think you, Connor, pull them off.
You think I do?
Yeah.
That's good. Because I need to wear a hat. It's really for my own protection.
Well, this time of year, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's dangerous if you don't.
It is. That's why you see me during the College World Series with a bucket hat on.
Got to get that new bucket hat.
I do. I do. Okay, TC has another one.
Ooh.
I have an opinion. This is interesting. If you don't have your blinker on, your car shouldn't be able to turn.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a good idea. The customer isn't always right. Cereal goes in first, not milk. Water does taste different. LOL, TC. That was a lot of opinions.
This is a rapid fire opinion.
A lot of I agree with him on the cereal one. Water tasting different from different locations. Absolutely.
Definitely.
The customer is definitely not always right.
That's correct.
But the whole car blinker thing, yeah, you got to be able to turn your car. What happens if the road gets windy? What happens if you're driving on Interstate 49 in Arkansas?
What happens if something darts out in front of me and I got to jerk the wheel?
Exactly. Kip.
Hi, Kip.
I have an opinion. Blue Jays are rude and entitled birds. It's the perfect mascot for that school in Omaha.
There it was. I was like, is he trying to say something? And then he said the thing.
John texts in.
Hi, John.
I have an opinion. No matter a person's age, status, or location, farts are always funny. Do you think that's true? Do you think that there's old rich people still laughing at farts?
Whoa, I hadn't quite thought of that. Like if Warren Buffett finds farts funny?
Yeah. Do you think if you were in this, if I don't know, Warren Buffett's in a meeting, it's a one-on-one meeting, and that person farts, would Warren laugh?
I think he would.
I think he would too.
Because
but that's not about his age or anything like it's just, yeah, I mean, it's, maybe he's right. It's universally funny.
Yeah.
It's universally funny. Now there's a time and place. Like if we were in a serious meeting, let's say, I don't know, Josh, I don't know. What would be the right, I'm trying to think of a bad time to fart, you know? Like Dale and Brennan in their meeting at the sporting goods store.
I'm starting to think this isn't a bit.
Ketchup and onions.
I can taste it.
That's a bad time, and that's not funny.
Yeah.
That's not funny. Other people might think it's funny, but that's not funny. They didn't get that job.
Funeral.
Bad time. So, yeah. So maybe that's wrong. There are times in which farts aren't funny. But it's more related to time and place, not who you are.
Maybe the most universal piece of comedy.
Yeah. Stibbs writes in.
Hi, Stibbs.
We're in a meeting because this is a totally made up situation. We're on a meeting because John said something very bad on the air. And Josh farts. Is that funny?
Probably.
I don't know. It probably points to you not taking what John said very seriously, and that would be a bad look for you.
Well, he's old. They just say things.
That would be a bad look for you, Josh. One more final opinion. David, I have an opinion. Uncrustables are for losers. Make a damn sandwich.
No.
That is it.
I'm going to go buy a box of Uncrustables after the show.
Uncrustables are awesome.
Yeah.
And I already do make sandwiches, but you can't always make a sandwich.
Sometimes I can't you just travel with 4 peanut butter sandwiches on me at one time.
No. Okay. Good job, everybody. Thanks. I have an opinion. Josh will let you know who won afterwards. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
He has the latest sports news, expert analysis, award-winning commentary, and a pocket full of cabbage.
Can you give us an indication why?
Just in case there's a sauerkraut emergency.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, one stray opinion here that we didn't get to from Pedro.
Hi, Pedro.
Hi, guys. I have an opinion. Hey, everybody. I don't want to see you in your pajamas. Stay home if that's all you want to wear. It does not take much effort to put on pants and a t-shirt. If you can't do that, then stay home. There should be a law that if you wear pajamas outside your house, you need to put on the sleeping cap with the white cotton ball on the end of it. This is a repeat opinion, but it is a strong opinion from me. Thanks, Pedro. I agree with the general opinion, but I don't think that we should I don't know. I just think we're going down a dangerous road when we're making the people who wear pajamas wear the cotton ball hats on their pajamas. I just think we're going down a dangerous road there. I don't want to do that.
Pedro?
Do we have the rights to these Nick Baugh drops, by the way?
He said them on NRG Media Airspace.
Okay.
They're still in our computer.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Do I have to tag it with Nick Baugh, circa the Nick Baugh Show?
Copyright Nick Baugh. This is Nick Baugh Show 3, by the way.
With Connor Happer.
With Connor Happer.
That's a great title for the show.
It used to be Nick Baugh Show 2 with Gary.
That's right.
And then it was the Nick Baugh or Game Time with Nick Baugh.
People forget about Game Time.
People forget about Game Time with Nick Baugh. And then there was a prequel, Chicken Nick.
Never heard of it.
Jac Caglianone. You ever heard of that? Yeah. You ever heard of that, Josh?
I have.
He was here for a very short period of time. Very short. But
12 games.
Last night, well, he was only here for half of those.
That's right.
We got to see I got to see him play one time at Werner Park. They went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. He also went 0 for 5 last night.
Interesting.
As a member of the Kansas City Royals. However, he hit baseballs very hard. In the game, he had the 2 hardest hit balls in play of the night. A 113.9 mile an hour, ground out. And I believe this was the line drive. The 112 mile per hour near home run, near double that was taken away from him in the second inning of the game last night against the St. Louis Cardinals. So we asked yesterday, would Jac Caglianone spark the Royals offense? How do you square this up? He went 0 for 5, but the Royals scored 10 runs, something that they never do.
That's
in
right.
fact, they barely ever score any runs. They got 10 last night, all because Jac Caglianone was in their lineup going 0 for 5. How do we square this up?
Yeah, do you want the team to have success or do you want Jack to have success?
Well, I'm just saying, did he influence success last night? Did he influence success? Once again, he did no production whatsoever other than hitting the baseballs hard for outs. But the Royals scored 10 times. It's hard for me to say that he had an impact on the scoring of the 10 runs, but I liked it. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he was in the lineup and the Royals scored 10.
You think the Cardinals were scared of that 6 hole?
Exactly.
And
All of
we're
a sudden-
really throwing around it?
All of a sudden, your lineup gets a little bit deeper. Last night, I tweeted that, I tweeted the picture of Cags and the exit velocities from last night. And Benson Bunny Boy tweeted in at me, and he said, why does this matter? He went 0 for 5, LOL. And I said, because I like it. Okay? I'm a trust the process guy. I like it when the baseball players hit the ball hard. I think eventually you're going to get some good results on that. If he continues to hit the baseball hard, eventually it will lead to good results, as it has at every single level of baseball for Jac Caglianone. Remember, he went 0 for 5 in his first home game as an Omaha Storm Chaser, and then he dominated the rest of the week, but he continued to hit balls hard. Cags is in the big leagues, ladies and gentlemen.
Now look at him.
He is in the big leagues. And man, it was, everybody, he had his whole family there. By the way, there was like 4,000 people at that St. Louis Cardinals game last night.
Best fans in baseball.
Yeah, what's up with these Cardinals fans talking about how they sell out every game? There was nobody there.
Best fans in baseball when the team's good.
What's going on? Anyway, Cags hit the ball hard several times, and it did make me very, very happy last night. When I was sitting on my couch watching the FanDuel Sports Network, as called by Jake last night. I incorrectly said that Jake was going to be on the radio last night. Jake was on the TV last night.
Wow.
And it got an audible for me last night.
Impressive.
Oh, yeah. Elsewhere in baseball, the Colorado Rockies won a series. They made news yesterday on the show because they won a game. But can I interest you in them winning a series?
Nothing to do now but win the whole dang thing.
The Colorado Rockies won a 3-2 game against the Miami Marlins, highlighted by Hunter Goodman's third home run in 2 games. You ever heard of Hunter Goodman before, Josh?
I haven't.
Giving the Rockies 2 straight victories over the Marlins and ensured that they would leave town with their first series win since taking 2 out of 3 games from the Arizona Diamondbacks in Denver in mid-September of 2024. That's right. They had gone 22 consecutive series not winning them. They couldn't win 2 out of 3 for 22 consecutive series. They had not won a series this year. And now they are 11-50? Major League worst 11-50. Here's a quote from Rockies interim manager Warren Schaefer. Quote, "That was big time for the boys to get that first series win. Who would have known that it wouldn't come till June? But the time is now. I'm happy for them." He literally said that.
You read that, and I forgot that they had already fired their manager this year.
Certainly had a point to it for sure. They have now won consecutive games for the second time this season. They beat Atlanta on April 30th and then San Francisco the next day. And today they will go for the series sweep against the Miami Marlins in front of 12 people. So just had to point that out. Congratulations to the Colorado Rockies, who have won baseball games and won a series now for the first time since September of last year. Back-to-back games for the second time all year, and now are going for the sweep. Imagine getting swept by the Rockies.
That would be brutal, embarrassing.
Don't do that. Luckily, there are no Marlins fans.
Right.
So they can't be embarrassed.
We illustrated those numbers yesterday.
Yeah.
One more quick baseball note. As the Angels and Red Sox are getting underway.
Oh, I'm going to turn it over there.
There was a pregame skirmish between the two coaching staffs.
Really?
So I don't know if a benches clearing brawl is something you can bet on, Platcat.
Nope.
But
tensions are getting hot in Boston. They're not living up to expectations.
Nope. People are talking.
Ouch. We do have some day baseball.
Bill Simmons is irate.
So, yeah, by the way, how did that story wrap up yesterday? I saw that Pablo Torre went on Bill Simmons' podcast. What happened?
Well, it turns out that Bill Simmons hates aggregators.
Yes, we knew that.
And only consumed the Pablo Torre podcast about Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson via aggregate news stories.
Nice.
And was completely wrong about all of Pablo's opinions.
And then immediately backtracked once Pablo got on the podcast?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. By the way, quick update for you. We are in the bottom of the 6th in Miami. Colorado 3, Miami 0. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They're going for the sweep.
While you were gone Monday, it must have been Monday, I whipped out my impression of the manager from Major League.
Yes.
I think I need to do it again. Okay, we won a game yesterday. If we win today, it's called 2 in a row. And if we win again tomorrow, it's called a winning streak. It has happened before. That's my Lou Brown. What do you think of my Lou Brown?
That's good. That's really good.
I've been working on it.
Did you get some feedback on that?
My wife enjoyed it. That was the only feedback I got.
That's really good.
Even tough guys get sprains.
Yeah, but you got to go slower. Go.
Yeah.
Just slow it down for me a little bit.
Even tough guys get sprains.
That's nailed it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Chris writes in on
Chris.
text line, what time is the parade in Denver? Just go up and down the 16th Street Mall. There'll always be people there.
Well,
maybe not people you want to talk to very much, but they'll be there.
They are at home. They have an off day tomorrow. They are at home against the Mets this weekend.
I assume when they land at Denver International, there'll be lines and lines of people waiting for them.
Throngs.
Congrats, Rockies. You did it. You beat the Miami Marlins in a 3-game series.
You did it.
And maybe
hang
slept
the
them.
banner.
All right, we're back after this to round out the hour on 1620 The Zone. All right, a couple things here. I found this one funny. So we don't pay a lot of attention to the transfer portal in college baseball. And that's okay. You know, guys are going to go in the transfer portal. The good ones are going to end up in the SEC. Guys are going to find new places for themselves. And then we'll reconvene in the fall. We'll figure out what everybody has, and then we'll see who's on the roster when the spring comes around, as the transfer portal intended. Right? There's not a whole lot of bidding wars going on or a whole lot of, I shouldn't say there's no drama, but not publicized anyway in the college baseball world. So I saw this one today. Actually, this was yesterday morning. This came out. Kendall Rogers, D1 baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned that North Dakota State shortstop Jake Schaffner was in the transfer portal. First team All Summit League. Hit .364 this year. Good player. Top of the lineup. Controls the bat well. Doesn't strike out. Summit Player of the Year defensively. Defensive Player of the Year in the Summit League. So North Dakota State just got their season ended. Their final game was the other day against Creighton. But before that, in their first game, the regional, they played Arkansas. And so I mentioned this sort of in passing yesterday. One of the things that coaches get worried about when they go to these SEC regionals is, oh my God, are our players going to get poached by the SEC team that we're visiting? Look at Arkansas's lineup when they're here next week. I think they're going to beat Tennessee. When they're here next week for the College World Series, you'll notice that their lineup is almost entirely made of transfers, and their top pitcher is a transfer. And you're like, oh my goodness, they just flock to Arkansas. Because why wouldn't they? They have everything there, and you're going to get paid money to play college baseball. You can only do that in like a handful of places around the country. And so when Kendall tweeted this out yesterday that the North Dakota State shortstop was going into the portal, and Arkansas got a chance to see him this weekend, and their fans got a chance, their very engaged fans got a chance to see him this weekend, they immediately flooded the Kendall Rogers comments with, he's a hog, and random
no.
It's amazing. This is what happens to every player in football. The comments just fill up with like random Nebraska, Notre Dame, Iowa, whatever GIFs.
Mm-hmm.
In this specific case, Arkansas fans just saw this guy for the very first time. It's like, I like him. We should get him. Vahivo Loy's going to the pros next year. He's getting drafted. He's not coming back. We want this guy to be our shortstop. Can we pay for him? Can we do it? It's great. You only see this in like a handful of places in college baseball.
Well, you better park the money truck up to him, because who knows how many years Dave Van Horn has left.
Apparently.
He's right behind Ed Service.
At least according to what he said to Ed Service. Yes. People definitely had a freak out about that in Arkansas the other night.
They really did.
Yep. So there you go. Arkansas fans have identified who they want to be their next shortstop. And it's the guy who just played in their regional. Interesting how that works.
Very.
Interesting how that works.
Connor, I realized something the other night about this college baseball bracket of ours.
What?
While it is a tall task, it is entirely possible that West Virginia pitcher Robbie Porco will be coming to Omaha. And we can hang out. We can hang out with him for $1.
Mr. Porco.
If he beats LSU 2 out of 3 times, we can pay $1 and hang out with Robbie Porco.
What an upset for West Virginia to get out of that regional, by the way. They were kind of playing like crap at the end of the season. They didn't really have a hard Big 12 schedule. They got swept by Kansas in their final regular season weekend. And then they didn't really do much in the Big 12 tournament either. And then they went to the regional, and everyone was like, I don't really know about this team. Then they won.
All of them.
And now they're on the Super Regional. And they have Robbie Porco, who famously you can donate to his NIL cause $1, and he says he'll come hang out with you.
There are no details about the hangout.
No. I assume the asking price has gone up on a hangout with Robbie Porco. But if West Virginia makes it to Omaha, which they might, we'll have to submit a request, Josh.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll be submitting a request.
Is that like blacked out during the College World Series because it's time to dial in, or?
I mean, they got time.
Right.
They got days off in the College World Series.
They do. Look, you don't want to go to that zoo. You want to hang out with us at the Village.
Now they have stuff that they could go to, but yeah, I assume that because you see the players sometimes they walk around and they buy stuff out of the shops in the Omaha Baseball Village.
That's right.
Why not just stop by and do a little interview with whoever's over at the OBV? How did we do, by the way, on the have we made contact with Eric Hosmer yet? He was on the list of people we wanted to show the Omaha Baseball Village.
Because he was
talking about it.
Yeah, like I definitely want to go to the College World Series.
He was talking about it in some way, shape, or form. So we gotta get in touch with Eric Hosmer. who's
hey, look at that.
Seems like he's in Kansas City all the time.
Got an email address for him.
For Mr. Porco?
Yeah. No, for
Eric Hosmer?
The Haas.
All right. Yep.
Wizard of Haas.
Josh, you love asking people if they want to do stuff. When I was in your office this morning, you were crafting an email about potentially getting a special guest on a show.
Trying to, get some illustrious guests to visit us at the village.
Look at that. I love it, Josh. You're asking the questions, you put the ball in their court.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. We have hockey tonight. I've never talked about hockey. But I will say this.
Okay.
The Stanley Cup Finals is the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers.
Good job, Connor. You nailed it.
Okay. So it's a classic Canada versus the United States situation. And famously, Canada, one of their teams hasn't won the Stanley Cup in a very long time.
1993.
Famously, hockey is very popular in Canada.
It's their sport.
It's their sport, and yet we own them. Our teams own them. Now, we have more teams.
That's true.
But I want Canada to win. I'm rooting for Canada, and it's at the expense of not a name brand franchise, not an illustrious, franchise with a bunch of history or anything like that. It's the Florida Panthers. I'm going to turn my back on the Florida Panthers and root for the Edmonton Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. That is my proclamation, my hockey proclamation of the day, Josh.
So for years I've laughed at Canada, their own sport. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1993. So could I interest you in the super cool narrative of Connor McDavid scoring a golden goal to win the Four Nations face-off and then being the one to bring a Stanley Cup back to Canada for the Edmonton Oilers?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And they just won it last year.
Yeah, Florida won it last year.
They beat Edmonton.
The state of Florida, through one of its teams, is almost always holding the Stanley Cup.
That's not fair. There's too many.
It's Florida.
It's not. There's too many. They have too many teams. They have too many available options to win stuff. It's always the random Florida teams that end up winning that nobody cares about.
The Lightning Dynasty.
How did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get Tom Brady that one time?
Great question.
The Rays ended up being good. The Marlins won the two most random World Series that we have. What's up? What's up with that? That's not fair. These other franchises have been suffering for a long, long time, and yet it's these random Florida franchises that keep winning the cup at the end of this entire thing. It's not right.
I'm going to
give it to Canada.
I'm going to proffer an explanation. It's wild speculation on my part. I have no evidence. I believe it's cocaine money that is winning Florida all these titles.
So Florida won last year. Vegas won the year before. Hockey hotbed Vegas. Colorado, that's cool.
That makes sense.
Colorado can win. Tampa, St. Louis, and everybody was singing that stupid song.
Yeah.
Washington, Pittsburgh. Those are the last 10 Stanley Cups. And then you get to Chicago.
Yeah.
I guess I'd be fine with Chicago winning it, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon.
They won it 3 times.
So go Canada. That's my official stance on hockey, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. I'm turning my back on my USA brethren in Florida, and I'm going for Canada.
If Connor McDavid wants to be the face of this league, now is the time.
Hey, where is where is NRG Media Omaha closer to? The home of the Edmonton Oilers or the home of the Florida Panthers?
Which one are you looking up? I'll look up the other one.
I'll do Edmonton.
Okay, Omaha to Miami.
What's no, go to the arena.
Oh, the arena.
Go to the arena that they play in. They play in Rogers Place, the Edmonton Oilers do.
Amaranth Bank Arena, which is almost literally in a swamp.
Okay. 1,173 miles to Rogers Place in Edmonton.
Loading.
That's got to be further away, right?
Loading.
It's got to be further away.
1,625 miles from Omaha to Amaranth Bank Arena.
Rogers Place is a couple hundred miles closer. So I'm just rooting for my local team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's all.
That's all we're doing.
1 o'clock hour coming up after this. Who's going to pay for all this on 1620 The Zone?
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
All right, we're back. 1 o'clock hour, the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Mentioned it a little bit earlier, but another good time to mention that this week's Zone Deal is to back lot Tap House, Omaha's best place for Detroit-style pizza. $50 worth of gift certificates for just $25 on sale this Friday at 9, 1620thezone.com. Or, of course, listen to this show, and we might have some sitting around for you.
Interesting.
For a variety of different ways throughout the week. Today's Backlot Tap House, our zone deal this week. Mr. Yogurt is talking again.
Dannon.
Mr. Dannon himself, the athletic director at Nebraska. Don't get triggered because I call him Mr. Yogurt. It's an affectionate nickname, okay? I'm not being mean. His name just happens to be the brand of a yogurt company, okay? Anyway, he spoke with Amy Just regarding some facility projects. By the way, I love this. First question right off the top was about the red, the red end zones.
And the idiot players not being able to tell the difference between the sideline and the end zone.
Dannon said this, I don't think we use red enough.
What?
We say go big red. I mean, I expected the town to be red when I walked in, and it wasn't. I wanted to see some red injected more into our physical facilities. What would that look like? Memorial Stadium lights up at night. The lights outside the fourth quarter light show recruiting events are usually programmed to white. When you fly an airplane into Lincoln Airport at night, there should be a red glow in the middle of town. Just things like that. That's a little bit of the branding. Some people care about the N. I care about the color because it grabs you, right? The end zones were, I thought, a no-brainer. Apparently not. Yogurt. Apparently not.
He wants to literally paint the town red.
He wants to literally paint the town red. Like whoever sang that in a song last year.
Lots of people.
It was Doja Cat. Wasn't it her? Anyway.
Sure.
So yeah, he wants it to be red all the time. So then there's a question about the Memorial Stadium project. He said, design-wise, we're in a really good place. We're not going to the Board of Regents this summer. I think we have a good pro forma. There's a lot of things happening both in our world, which doesn't really affect the stadium project, but the economic model is certainly impacted by what's going on right now, tariffs. And in the institutional world, there are a lot of things happening in the institutional world with federal grants and how the university operates for the switch to flip. To move forward, I'm not ready to put my hand on the switch, let alone for the president to say, go ahead and flip it. But it's still coming. My timeline that I've been public about, post 2026 and ready in 2028, is still really the timeline of the project that we're looking for, but haven't been to the board yet. And I really don't have a timeline for getting to them, but everything's on track. So I thought originally we were supposed to be hearing more about these plans this summer, and it feels like we're not at this point. It's kind of still under the under the radar a little bit. We don't want to make these public because I don't know.
It's gonna trigger people.
Do you think it will? Okay, so this is my question of this segment. So as Josh, our dear friend Josh, reported last week, this is going to be very expensive. Very expensive. Like very expensive. So if we're talking about 500, 600, 700, 800, remember the original price tag with Trev was 450.
And we said, whoa, hey, not made of money, Trev. Win games first.
I'm not reporting anything. My guess would be in the neighborhood of double. Because we're talking about
1,200 million?
No, 450.
Oh.
No, times two. No, Josh, do math better. Like, we're talking about almost $1 billion. Talking almost $1 billion.
A Billy?
If something is $900 million, is it $1 billion? Poll question.
Yes.
The answer is absolutely. Just like his 3940. It's the same thing. So we're talking about basically $1 billion. And I don't know who pays for this. We're talking about just the stadium at this point. with all the improvements that need to be done from an infrastructural standpoint, we're talking about the supposed still implosion of South Stadium, rebuilding. We're talking about suites and everything that is nice and all. Like, if they're going to, Dannon's been public about this, like, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it right, as they should, right? There's a hefty price tag that comes along with this. People get uncomfortable with this, Josh. I don't know who pays for this. But has it at all crossed anybody's mind that at some point there's going to be tax dollars infused into this thing?
I mean,
has that ever crossed anybody's mind? Nebraska has been very, they're very proud of the fact that they fund their own junk. You know what I mean? They don't ask for anybody's money except for yours, the fan, and the donors and all that stuff. Like, they are self-enclosed. They don't get any money from the university. They don't get any thing back from campus or anything like that. In fact, they pay into campus, right? They donate money to campus in a way. But we're talking about $1 billion. There's no $1 billion just sitting. There's no $700 million. There's no $800 million. I mean, it's a big ask. And so I know that this is, I think part of the reason why we're waiting here, I think part of the reason why this doesn't get talked about publicly a lot is because they're obviously trying to raise money from behind the scenes on all these things, but also, where is this going to land and how much money are we going to be asking for? How much money, not you, like the donor, but you, the taxpayer. How much money are we going to be asking for in that regard? And people do not like having that conversation. Let me add this, though. However, I know people are like, what? Football stadium? What are we talking about? This is Nebraska football, for the record. This is Nebraska football. The state's pride and joy.
Right.
Right? And you've never been asked as a taxpayer to pay anything regarding Nebraska football ever. Would that soften the blow? Would that soften? And once again, this is all very theoretical. Incredibly theoretical.
I don't think it would, because you say all this, and the thing that immediately comes to my mind is people calling in to Big Red Overreaction after a loss and going,
I pay for this.
This is what I get with my tax dollars. Like, it's going to be such a quicker hook on coaches, players. Like, oh, you got to bench that bum. I'm not paying for these types of performances.
So I've started to hear this a lot, but Mike is the most recent person to say it. And then Stomp Tromp Roar, your boy Ranger Anthony, kind of follows up. Just build a new stadium. Unpopular opinion. How much is a brand new stadium? I don't probably be like $1 billion.
Yeah.
But then there's space and where do you do with it? Where do you put it and all that stuff? Like,
logistically, you lose home games for 2-3 seasons.
I just don't. It might make more sense in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a place there where you've been playing for a very, very, very long time, and you have found it to be feasibly possible to make the repairs that you need to, and to make it a modern place where people want to go watch college football games. I think that's your best option still.
You have found an engineer who said, yes, it is technically possible to do both.
Yes, right. You were looking for that yes for a long time. Yes. I still think that's your best option, but I've heard more and more people say this. So that's that's a lot of money that we're dealing with here. And I don't know. I just, what Jeff writes in, by the way, Nebraska's turning to Uncle Baby Billy. Just need a couple million.
You get that reference now, don't you?
I do. Thank you, Josh. I watch television.
You caught up on Teengus?
I have not finished the show all the way through yet, but
okay.
I'm in season 4. I'm in the last season. Pedro writes in. He says, "Hi guys, can we tie the streetcar with the stadium deal?" And these are two different things that we're talking about. And for the 402, disposable income is at an all-time low, even if it's the only time people won't be happy that their taxes are going up. I know. I think generally that is the case. But once again, I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, what? Where are they gonna get the money to pay for? Nebraska struggled raising the money. It was difficult for them. It was pulling teeth for them to raise the money for their facility, which cost $165 million. I mean, we're talking about a lot more than that. So I just wanted to put this out there. This is I don't know anything about anything. I'm just putting the numbers together in my head and thinking, where is this going to come from? And so that's why I asked you. Speaking of, and I was reading some things from Amy Just story with Troy Dannon from before, commented on a few more things. Other capital projects in the works, the baseball stadium and stuff like that. Josh, what was that? What was going on there?
Well, we were talking about the Memorial Stadium renovation being possibly theoretically paid for with tax dollars. Others would like to point out that the cigarette tax is paid and renovated Devaney.
Yeah, I'm not saying only tax dollars, by the way. I'm not saying only tax dollars. I'm saying that I wouldn't be surprised if there was some of that was being requested. That's all.
Darren Erstad can only pay for so much.
Yeah, so then there was a
and Dominican Sue can only pay for so much.
There was a question about baseball in
Ping.
here. What?
Ping.
Yeah, ping, exactly. Ping. So the question was, as Amy wrote it, Nebraska doesn't own Haymarket and Bolin, so that makes it harder, but have there been any conversations about upgrades for softball and baseball? Dannon says, yeah. Those facilities have the most vulnerabilities because they haven't really been touched. We want to get into the locker room, the clubhouses, and get those updated as much as possible, but we need a true performance facility for those sports. The Gordon indoor is awesome for us and for what it is, but strength and conditioning, better sports medicine facility with more of the modalities that you use today, pitching lab, that needs to be done. How and where and what that investment looks like, it's there. We haven't committed to anything yet. It's something we're talking about internally, whether that's located there or it's located off-site. And maybe there's some indoor space. In a perfect world for me, there would be enough of an indoor that you could have some infield for both baseball and softball and do some work in the offseason given the weather that we have. Now, the turf fields at Sandhills Global are a huge asset to us right across the street from Haymarket Park. But that training piece is probably what's lacking. So, hey, we just had the conversation about investment into baseball yesterday. I mean, that would be significant. That would be significant if they could get a true indoor facility for baseball. What they have right now is a place where they could take live swings, but it's not an area where it's not a big enough area to really do much productivity from a full-on how you play the game standpoint. It's a good training area, but you go around the country and you see a lot of these places, and what they have is the pitching lab and the recovery and all that stuff, the stuff that Nebraska has for football, but we're talking about from a baseball perspective. So what would that look like? I would be fascinated. I would be fascinated into how that all would look, and if they do that on Pinnacle Bank Arena and the Herbie and the design process. Remember how Herbie's going to go on Pinnacle Bank Arena now?
He's going to go on it, like on the court.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember.
Dannon, quote, "I'm at kind of a loss for why Herbie doesn't have more of a presence. I talked to both coaches, and both of them were like, oh yeah, great. Again, it's like everything else, but there's no 100%. Herbie came up over and over again in PBA. There's no 100%, but Herbie came up over and over again in PBA. So putting that logo on the floor, I think it'll be fun and it'll be a good look. We're also getting new Terraflex volleyball courts. We need a couple of new ones. We're talking to coaches about what they might want for the design. Part of this is how you view branding, and everything doesn't need to be the same. Anti-Trev. Everybody knows when they see the big red N, and everybody knows when they see Herbie, it's not Texas. I think we have some marks that are very identifiable. We have very, very traditional football uniforms. I think if you asked our athletes in most sports, they love the black uniforms. I don't want it to be the primary, but they all can have access to wearing the black uniforms virtually anytime they want, as long as we don't start bordering on them being the primary uniform. What football wants to do, it takes 2 years on football uniforms. There's not a lot you could do to touch the football helmet, nor should you, but we have 2 helmets. Every year, every player has 2 helmets. Whether we have a third that's an alternate or not, frankly, you wear a lot of times with the alternates. They're one-offs, and then you could auction them or make them available to the public. So we're thinking a little bit about that, but that stuff doesn't happen, like anything we should talk about with uniforms, is until 26 at the earliest. So it takes some time. But we're constantly talking about, one, you want to have a little bit of fun. We're not disrespecting the tradition, but we do have a series of marks that I think we should use them fully. That's kind of it. I mean, there's a lot of words there. It's a lot of words.
Some interesting stuff.
Yeah. There's some stuff in there. So there's a little bit about the stadium. I would encourage people to read that from Amy Just Husker Extra. You can go check that out. There's comments on some other things in there as well. Man, I hear a lot of people talking about how they want new stadium. More and more these days.
You're hearing it more and more.
Yeah. Also, text with the 402, does Warren Buffett hate Nebraska athletics?
Clearly
and obviously. TC writes in.
Hi, TC.
How do we pay for this? We could rig a couple of Powerball / Mega Million lotteries. LOL, peace, TC. What do you think?
What
rig
if
the lottery like Bryan Cranston did in that really bad movie?
What if we could just, like, I don't know, just spitballing here. Follow me on this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know, like place a wager on our mobile devices on the day's sporting events, and all of that money went into some type of pool that could be used by the state.
Okay,
to fund things.
I'm following. This is very interesting. So basically what you're saying is Troy Dannon moves all of the money that they've raised for this stadium project already into a sports gambling account and then puts it all on the Thunder to win the NBA finals. You're not doubling your money, but you're getting a pretty nice return on that. You know? Let's say it's $50 million. Can you place a $50 million wager on the Thunder to win the final?
Yes, but you have to take it up to a person and tell them, you have to take my money. I've got a really good tip.
It worked for that one guy until it didn't. All right. We'll take your thoughts on that and anything else. Good one from Black Cat. You can go to the casino and put it all on red.
That would make sense.
Although I would not. I would tell you to bet on black.
But if you're Nebraska,
well, Troy Dannon is saying that they're going to do more black uniforms and stuff like that, and the kids want to wear black uniforms. Maybe you put it all on black.
That's true.
Maybe you sprinkle a little bit on 10, 17, 22, 31, 35. And then you could even get more rich.
All significant numbers in Husker football history.
All right, we're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Josh, did you know, as we prepare for the College World Series, it's possible that we could only have one SEC team in?
I actually had been monitoring this on Monday.
One.
Yeah.
We will have a minimum of one.
Right.
We will have at least one. We could have 3. But that's the maximum. That's very different from years past.
It is.
And one of the things that has happened over the last couple of years, it's hard to really know this because we're in it, right? But the College World Series, it feels like it's gained a little bit of steam here from a national perspective. I think there's a lot of different things going on right now. We touched on it yesterday in the crossover. Like, you think about that World Series 2 years ago, where there was so much talent, and a lot of those guys, I mean, there's probably 7 or 8 of them that are in the major leagues right now, right? So the gap between college and the major leagues just isn't as long anymore. Teams are more likely to elevate their players in a faster manner these days. I think that helps college baseball. Last year, we had a College World Series that was able to capitalize off of that, not necessarily with the talent, although there was plenty of it still, but with the fact that there was great fan bases in town, and there were all great games. There was a whole bunch of just excellent games last year in the College World Series. So this year, as it shapes up, I guess I want to know from you guys, what do you want? How do you want it to look? And you tell me from your point of view. Are you obviously if you're listening to this, you're probably an Omahan or a Nebraskan. You have a mild amount of interest in the College World Series, whatever it might be. Like, what do you want the outward facing vibe of the College World Series to be? Because what over the last couple of years, we've gotten to this nice little rhythm. Big time SEC fan bases, they come up and they talk about it, and it's kind of the SEC takeover, but we love it. Does Omaha, because I've heard this talked about over the last couple of days, do we need this? Like, in a world where it's just one SEC team in, and it's, I don't know, Tennessee or Arkansas, and Auburn doesn't make it, and LSU gets beat by West Virginia or something like that. LSU's not here, right?
I need LSU to be here.
Do you?
It's one of the things I need.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just more fun.
I mean, so we could be looking at, Louisville and Oregon State. Those are fan bases that are not known for traveling. North Carolina, good fan base. A lot of locals who have worn Carolina blue over their days.
Yeah. But I don't know that fan base travels here.
Doesn't necessarily travel and spend money. Remember, there was the blog last year. Here's Omaha. Go to Garotts or whatever. Coastal Carolina / Auburn, UCLA / UTSA, Duke / Murray State. So while everybody roots for the SEC's downfall, and gosh, it's fun. Because as we talked about before, there's no conference that honks itself more. Honk, honk.
Honk, honk.
It's fun. But when they get here next week, and when the super regionals are all wrapped up, and there's only really one fan base or 2 fan bases that kind of take over, and you look at that Jello shot board, and the Jello shot board maximum is like 12 or something like that, you're going to be like, whoa, what happened? Now, maybe the baseball is good. Maybe the baseball is good, and that saves the entire thing.
That does save a lot.
But, there will obviously be interesting stories, which we will document and cover throughout the entirety of the College World Series. It will be fun for us, but we're in it every year, and we have no choice. To the common fan, to the common, baseball goer in Omaha, maybe you're coming every year, no matter what. But I think part of what's really given it life over the last couple of years specifically is the fact that these fan bases have come in and they've taken over, and they've shared a little bit of their quote unquote culture with us, and we've shared it back with them, and then it lives here for a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I think that's part of what has made it really cool and grabby over the last couple of years. And I've commented on this a lot, since I've been involved for the last 3. The downtown ballpark is starting to feel like home now.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why. What will it look and feel like when, the runs are up across college baseball and there's a lot of talent and the baseball is still good, but there's not Ole Miss, there's not LSU, there's not, and maybe there still is LSU, but you know what I mean? And the LSU fans will still be here regardless, there'll still be that guy sitting behind home plate. And there'll be Callahan's tailgate in the parking lot, but maybe they're not here. I wonder how much that matters to you all.
I need a few big brands. I need a little guy here. So I'm a little torn in that UCLA UTSA super regional because I do need a Cinderella. I do need a dog here,
But do you?
Because I'm locked in regardless, right? But
no, but I'm saying
there's a formula to it.
Does Omaha need it?
Does Omaha need it?
Does Omaha need it? Because last year, you look at the College World Series and look at this. Tennessee, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, NC State, Florida, Texas A&M. And I'm not saying
pretty sexy.
Florida doesn't travel.
No.
Florida doesn't travel. Texas A&M does a little bit. Florida State doesn't travel very much. North Carolina doesn't travel very much. Virginia doesn't travel very much. But those are big-time, big dog programs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kentucky, while they were in the SEC, also sort of played a little bit of I'm rooting for them. They're not here a lot, even though they're still in the Southeastern Conference. 2023, LSU, Florida, Virginia, Wake Forest, Stanford, Tennessee, TCU, and Oral Roberts. You can have the underdog. You can have your UTSA, or UTSA is maybe a bad example because they're super game. But you can have your, who's the other one? Murray State. You can have your Murray State. So as long as there's 6 Arkansas, you know what I mean? So long as there's,
I would agree with that.
So as long as there's 6 LSUs,
right?
But there's not this year.
No.
What if it's Murray State and everybody's just okay, I guess it's Murray State.
Would you agree that the most interesting first round matchups are if Miami plays Florida State?
No, it's LSU Arkansas.
Well, yes, but on the left side, Miami, you could have Miami Florida State. That'd be fun in the first.
I think at this point we're probably rooting for it.
Right. And
we need that.
And North Carolina versus Coastal Carolina.
That's fun.
For the in-state sort of.
That's fun.
No one's big brother, no one's little brother, but
Do you what does the whole top right of the bracket is kind of a wash at this point?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no Texas. And there's no people sort of glommed on to UC Irvine.
Mm-hmm.
We knew
they've been here before.
Ole Miss was supposed to be the team that was in that position.
Yeah.
I don't know that people would have really rooted for Georgia out of that pod right there, but we ended up with UCLA, UTSA, Duke, and Murray State.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of those teams are going to be in the College World Series.
And then you got your
and so I don't know, it might be a wash in the whole UCLA UTSA thing, and one of them between Duke and Murray State is coming. And at this point, I think people are well, Duke doesn't really do anything. You might as well just bring Murray State.
Right.
But that doesn't that doesn't mean as much. That doesn't carry as much weight when it's just them and they're playing UTSA in the first game.
Right.
Somebody's going to be 1-0 in the College World Series.
I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't extrapolated that out.
Yeah, somebody's going to be playing in the Monday night winners bracket game. And it could be UTSA.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
They beat Texas.
They could be playing Arkansas for a chance to be the 2-0 team in bracket B.
Platcat, this is a good comment from him. He said,
Platcat was all over this, by the way, last night.
He said, I made this point yesterday. This is a lot like a first weekend with a ton of upsets in March Madness. Yeah. It's a fun first weekend, but it leads to a crappy remainder of the tournament.
So what did we get this year in the tournament? We got chalk, and it led to a sweet 16 Elite 8 Final Four.
Yeah. I think the bracket is a little too broken at this point for this year. Now, it can be salvaged by good games in the College World Series.
Yeah.
But on the front end, it does have a little less luster than the last couple.
I think we need this. Like we need the big dogs. We need the big dogs. It really gives it life,
especially as it is like it's old hat to us here in Omaha, but it is a burgeoning television product. It's still relatively new.
Yeah, there will be Charles Schwackoffs either way.
Yeah,
but we need the moments, we need the big stars, and we need the big programs to bring all that to Omaha. There's not going to be much of it this year. It'll be a great series. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be good baseball. Somebody's going to win a national championship at the end of it. There will be drama. But
they will be giving away the national championship. They will not just call it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they won't just say, actually, Vanderbilt, you win. No, you were the 1 seed. No, you don't win just because you were the 1 seed. But I think really what gives it life, what gives it that flair,
that buzz,
is what we've seen for the last couple of years. And there's no coincidence that people look back and they'll say, man, those were some awesome series. We got two really great series in a row. And in both years, like 6 out of the 8 teams were from the SEC, and the others were mainstays. Teams like Virginia and North Carolina. And then we got the random Oral Roberts, and we got Kentucky last year and NC State. Right? I don't think there's a coincidence. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do the poll questions. We'll tell you what to watch. Coming up on the other side on 1620 The Zone. All right, before we get to the polls, the parade is on in Denver. The Colorado Rockies have swept the Miami Marlins. Woo! They had already won their first series in 22 tries and won consecutive games for the first time since April going into today. But they wanted to have dessert, and they got it. Their first series sweep in 55 series.
57.
57.
Now,
How many series? That's a lot of games.
57 times 3 is 171.
All right, so basically it's been a year since they've swept anybody.
Some series are 2, some are 4, some are 3.
Right. Yeah, but they basically equal out to 3.
Yeah.
It's their first sweep in a year.
Good for Nick.
Congratulations. Congratulations to the Colorado Rockies. I bet there's a lot of happy people in their dugout. Now, think about it this way. So they're 12-50 now. If they win 12 more games in a row, meaning they will have a 15-game winning streak, they'd still be 26 games under 500.
Wowie.
It's June. It's June. They have 50 losses, Josh.
They do.
They have 50 losses.
50.
I mean, they're not very far away from already clinching a sub 500 season. It's June.
There's a lot of ways to look at this. Yeah.
All right, to the polls at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Do you mess with Cheaper by the Dozen? Yeah, I kind of mess with that movie.
I do not.
I don't there's a lot of things that are wrong with it, but if you just take it for what it is, I kind of mess with it.
It's not the movie of my youth like it is for you.
It's definitely not that for me either.
But
it was late. I mean, what year did that movie come out?
How old were you when it came out?
Cheaper by the Dozen. 2003. So I was 11.
Okay.
So maybe it is kind of it's not the movie.
Not the movie of your youth.
Don't put it on the internet that it's the movie of my youth.
It's a movie you watched when you were younger that
okay.
Hey, this is fun. It's a movie.
Sure. Yes. I can go along with that. I voted yes. 61% voted no. Even though Steve Martin is an unbelievable football coach. Is Connor Happer an SEC honk guy?
I'll
just vote yes.
Boy, in that segment you were.
Honk. 75% say yes. Wow. 75%, huh? Is Grunt the Slate our McRib? Yeah,
I think so.
74% say yes. Are you excited for the return of the McDonald's snack wrap?
No.
76% say no.
Wow, we were on to something.
Good job. Is your life over at 88?
Definitely.
No, of course not. 65% say yes. Which is the better Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore movie? 50 First Dates or The Wedding Singer?
Wedding Singer.
50 First Dates, thank you. 62% say Wedding Singer. Pretty close, Josh.
I don't think that's close.
62% is pretty close.
37 is not 62.
38.
38 is not 62.
I don't know. I think it's pretty close. Just give me a couple more votes for 50 First Dates. Does Warren Buffett find farts funny?
I bet he does.
I bet he does too. 54% say yes. And finally, if something costs $900 million, does it actually cost $1 billion?
100% yes.
You bet. 65% say yes.
Sad.
Josh, those are the polls. What are we watching today?
We're watching Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Canada!
Oh, Canada. The Edmonton Oilers host the Florida Panthers in a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Finals. 7 o'clock puck drop on TNT. Maybe Charles Barkley will show up. Major League Baseball, Angels, Red Sox going on right now on MLB Network. Rangers, Rays is your free game of the day at 6:30. And the evening ends with Mets, Dodgers at 9 o'clock.
Hey, Juan Soto did some good things last night.
Yeah.
He hit a home run, robbed one from a foul ball. I mean, it was a
fun little game last night between those two. Game 1 of the Women's College World Series Championship Series is set to take place tonight. 7 o'clock.
Oklahoma's not in. Nobody's going to watch.
Except that more people than ever watched UCLA, Tennessee over the weekend.
You know that Texas Tech has a millionaire softball player, right? They gave her like $1 million.
Oh, they killed the queen.
What?
The call from Texas Tech was, the queen is dead.
Wow. Okay.
Bold.
I like it.
Texas versus Texas Tech, 7 o'clock on ESPN, or you can listen to it right here on 1620 The Zone at 6:45 Netflix new series premiere there, Power Moves with Shaquille O'Neal. NBA legends Shaq and Allen Iverson work to revive Reebok's legacy and find a rising star to rep the brand.
Really?
It sounds like a comedy, but I don't think it is.
Okay, it sounds like a real documentary.
Yeah, right. Curry Inc., The Business of Steph Curry, 8 o'clock on CNBC. The special pulls back the curtain on how the 4-time NBA champion and 2-time MVP is building a legacy that goes far beyond basketball. Okay. And finally, Connor, do you have Apple TV Plus?
No.
Okay, I think this might be up your alley, though.
Well, actually, maybe because I watched Severance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Styx. It's a new series starring Owen Wilson.
STYX, like the band?
No, Styx, like golf sticks.
Okay.
Owen Wilson plays an ex-pro golfer who takes a troubled young phenom under his wing.
Owen Wilson, huh?
Wow.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
So we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is next.